Start it up. Margin finna be like Joe Budden. He just gonna stir up madness.
Yeah, oh my God, we are live now. We are live.
We live?
Yeah, we live.
When did live start?
Live started when that joy. When that joy
we hit record. We good to go.
You peeking? Let me turn your game down a little bit.
Appreciate you.
I know I'm doing a little bit.
That's that garage band. Genius.
Yes, sir. Garage band for the free.
For the free. Look, people hating, bro.
So shout out to my mom because I'm gonna cuss less. And I'm definitely not gonna say nigga as much.
Okay.
I was wilding.
I understand.
It was a little bit of nerves, and then the second and third episode we recorded in the same day.
Yeah.
So.
And we both was tired.
Shout out.
Oh yeah, we was definitely tired.
Shout out to your queen, bro.
Shout out to my mother.
We love you. We love you.
Mom.
So we have a special guest in here today.
Who?
This is my brother. Somebody who I've been very close with since 2013 and a half, because we graduated 2013 and then we went to Norfolk State August 2013.
Yes, sir.
You stayed on the 5th floor.
Bruh, man.
I stayed on the 4th floor.
Bruh, man. Yes, sir.
My brother Malik stayed on the 5th floor as well,
mm-hmm.
which was funny because that was the first time I met you going to his floor. I think we met either in the game room or we met in the lobby of the Towers.
It was the lobby of the Towers, and I don't know if you remember, tell your mother forgive me, niggas was having a microwave war.
I don't remember that. Because I was always hiding in my room.
It was 2 microwaves for like 7 to 8 floors.
It was.
So everybody was still in the microwave to put it on their floor to use it.
Oh my. Nah, for real?
Yeah, legit. And I remember the day I met you, we had just stole the microwave back from 7th floor. And we got the microwave back. And I was trying to warm something up. That's the whole reason I was down there. Because the microwave was gone. Like, I don't know if they confiscated it or what, but we was interrogating all the floors. Everybody was like, we ain't got it. So I was like, I'm going to the lobby. I met you in the lobby, bro. The Most High.
Accurate.
The Most High set that up, bro. He set it up so I can be in the lobby and I can meet you, bro.
Oh, your voice projects very well, so I'm going to give you the headphones. I got a pretty good idea what I sound like, because I think you might be able to push the microphone back a little bit.
For real?
Them ATs pick up pretty well, so you straight.
Say less. I ain't trying to peek.
I say, put the headphones on, check your level. See so we have an actual engineer in the building, but he's not engineering the podcast because I don't know what I'm doing.
No, he know what he's doing.
And he not going to be here consistently. But you hear yourself, right?
Yeah. We sound good. Cool. We sound perfect.
But
he knows what he's doing, y'all. Don't let him lie to you.
All right, so just to show how much I do or don't,
Pull it back.
Slipped a little bit back.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so this is episode 4. I almost said 3. 4. This is episode 4, the third day we've shot. Episode 4 of this is what's his face talking about what you call it on the what's the name. It's the what's the name podcast.
Exactly.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
That one had bass.
That's a peak moment for the audio.
I gotta do one for Dre too.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I am one of your hosts. I go by Kelvin Ruffin Jr. Don't forget the Junior. I'm here with your boy today.
The waviest of the waviest. It's your boy Larry the Wavy Fellow. Here to tell you
hello.
And I'm the co-host of the what's the name? What's the name?
What's the name?
Yeah, that's the name. And we got a special guest here.
Very special
and
guest.
We're going to go ahead and let him give you guys the intel.
Introduce yourself, my brother.
That's the name. Hey, no, look, it's a blessing to be here, bro. Shout out to y'all fellas. I'm going to give y'all flowers in a moment. My name is Andre Raashad. I am here. I'm just a regular brother just trying to do the Lord's work, and we here for this podcast. And what's the name of this episode? We gonna say it on the pod? What is it?
I'm not sure yet because we might have an amazing moment. But so far, I got. I'm gonna say this on the pod.
I'm gonna say this on the pod.
So far, that's on the list for episode titles.
I'm here to say a lot on the pod.
Okay.
All right, word. Well, we got it. I'm gonna pull up the list. We have a bevy of topics to talk about for the day. But being that we're here with Andre, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that he's here. First and foremost, we ain't seen each other in about a week and some change. So, my brother, how have you been?
I've been all right, honestly. Couple of hiccups here and there, but that's life,
Fact.
And I just been trying to move. I'm still at my apartment that I was supposed to have been going on the 1st of July. It's supposed to be gone already.
It's July 7th.
Yes. I mean, hey, hopefully by the end of this week, I'm in a new place. But in the end, I'll be all blessed and highly favored, bro. I ain't got no complaints for real.
Absolutely, absolutely. My week been cool. You know what I'm saying? My week been cool. Eventful in spots.
Yeah.
You know, but other than that, it's been pretty cool. I've had a bit of an awakening, as some might call it. But other than that, it's been very cool. Been preparing to do some pretty big stuff, just in my personal life.
Okay.
Dre, how you been? How you been, brother? How you been?
I've been blessed, bro. Honestly, I've been reflecting a lot. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. I've been reflecting a lot. Yeah. I'm gonna hold it.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait.
That dramatic pause. Hold on.
It was pregnant, right? I'm finna take it.
8 months.
I'm finna 8 months. I was finna take it to a different direction, but I've been introspective in a good way. All praise to the Most High. I'm thankful. You know, every day we wake up, I see it as forgiveness. Okay. He's blessed us to see another day, to right those wrongs. Like Majin to drop diss track songs and to you know, just to do our best in service. So
Shannon Sharp said it best. In the Bible, it say, "Turn the other cheek." My name ain't in there.
Oh my God, bro.
But again, this is not for that. This episode is not for that. We are here to have a conversation amongst men. I also want to shout out to my brother Tre, TRE_InFocus. He was not here to make it today. He got to work. All of us got jobs outside of this, so we try to do our best with the days we got.
Shout out to Tre.
Absolutely.
So we don't see the beautiful visuals today, but we will have them back very soon. Also, shout out to my big brother Troy. He is in the building as an onlooker. We are hoping to have him up here soon.
Shout out to Zion.
Absolutely, shout out to Zion, not Williamson, the real one.
Hey.
Yeah. Let's see. What I remember you from Norfolk State.
Okay.
A lot of other people around me that aren't as familiar with you but know of you might know you from student loans.
That's true.
They might know you from student loans. You feel me? That's that song. That song. It changed my life in the way of not really giving a damn about about who claims to be the powers that be rather than what really is. So
100%.
As far as your music journey, you took a stance of being the woke and conscious rapper, hints of ignorance, but mainly the woke and conscious route. As somebody personally, I believe it is a very thin line between talented with a message and corny with a message. How do you operate on that spectrum? Because I know you hear it very often being a conscious rapper. You hear those people who come up to you to try to relate to you, and then you hear their music and it's like, I wouldn't have said that like that.
Absolutely.
Of course, I'm being nice, but
I wouldn't have said it at all. That's a fact. No, that's a fact. I'm with you. You telling the truth. I'm with you.
So in your approach to hip hop, what inspired you to take that approach, as well as what has kept you on that path of trying to maintain a certain balance within music when it's really easy to be influenced by outside things to try to get a name and then to try to put the message? You chose to just stick with the message itself. What's the inspiration behind that? I know it's a very common and vague question.
No, I mean, it's all good, bro. I appreciate you. I mean, I think a man has to have a purpose in anything he does, and I appreciate you analyzing it that way. I mean, you knew me before I dropped student loans.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying this as if I'm famous, but just to give context so people understand what he's saying. I released student loans in 2019. A lot of people didn't even know I made music. Within the first 6 months, student loans had over 2 million plays.
Facts.
And all praise to the Most High, a lot of people was listening to it. And they was basically listening to me talk about how I'm not finna pay them student loans back.
How many streams you said in the first 6 months?
Over 2 million. Y'all crazy, bro.
Timestamp 9:36.
9:36.
Air horns.
No, I'm playing Don DeMarco. No, so what I'll say is a lot of people was introduced to, I'll say, my mindset then, but what I'll say is, you had conversations back then
Yeah.
And one thing I used to always say is in the scriptures, when Solomon says, "Consider your ways." And my perspective in music is, as long as I keep my authenticity, even if somebody's perception is that it's corny, my mission is to make someone consider their ways through the song that I've released.
Right.
And then even make myself consider my ways.
Right.
I'm not exempt from this. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? Paul said, "I die daily." That means all of us are daily killing our flesh to grow our spirit. Okay. And I know that's a very spiritual message for a song called Student Loans. But when you listen to the song, I go into a lot of that. I'm talking about Black Wall Street and everything. So
Thanks. You did. You did.
Word, all praises. So appreciate you, bro. So I only say that to say that's been the message I've tried to stick to since the inception of music. And like you said, it was a little bit of ignorance in there because if I feel like my perception on that has even changed. I don't do that as well as you. Like I feel like I'm not saying that in the bad way.
I understand exactly what you said. Yeah.
We were just laughing talking about Drake.
Bruh.
Right?
Yeah.
Something I feel like you and Drake got in common, which is crazy to say.
Absolutely.
Just
Go
follow
ahead.
me.
You good.
Drake has this ability that no matter what genre he touches,
Mm-hmm.
and no matter what music he makes,
Yeah.
he's able to immediately be relatable and do it accurately. And almost to the point where if we didn't know it was Drake himself, we wouldn't think he was doing it for the first time. We would think that was his culture.
Okay.
And
we are speaking about pre-Scorpion and half of Scorpion.
Absolutely.
Everything after that,
Everything.
we can chalk it up to.
Yeah, we can chalk it up. We gonna just focus on views
the
and
real
before, honestly.
Drake. Yeah.
Facts from Take Care to Views and
Absolutely.
before Take Care.
Yeah.
But
So far gone.
you have this fact. So Far Gone was fire. you have this ability. Fear was crazy on So Far Gone, but you have this ability, bro, to say, for example, you say I'm about to work on an album. I feel like we could put concepts on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Or like genres on the wall.
Yeah.
Throw darts at it. Whatever one you hit, I feel like you can make an album based upon that.
I appreciate that.
But
That's giving me a lot of credit. But
no,
I
I'm being
appreciate
honest. Me as an artist,
Yeah.
because I have this particular mission, I just don't feel like I have that ability. My genre has to stay what it is. And I feel like that's how I keep my authenticity and I keep it from being corny. Because I'm genuinely not trying to be something I'm not. I don't even have the desire to. I know I'm not capable of it. And it's not me limiting myself. It's just me knowing what I'm good at.
Do you feel limited sometimes, though?
I used to feel limited, but not anymore.
Okay, I got a question to ask too.
Of course.
He asked you what inspired you far as, I guess, the aspirations of the people that was around you.
Yeah.
So what really got you into it? Like the artists, the people you was listening to, who motivated you in that way?
Funny enough, we was talking about Cole and Drake. Who motivated me the most back in the day to become an artist was probably between J. Cole, Big Crit, and Drake.
Okay.
Probably those three. It was
Shout
Wale
out to
before
Big
he
Crit,
started.
man.
Yeah,
Shout out to Big Crit.
He don't get enough
Cadillac,
credit.
man, look.
Come on, bro.
Soul
Bass
food.
knocking in the trunk, bro.
Soul
Come on, bro.
food. That's my joke.
Come on, bro.
All right.
Soul food.
Sorry about that. Continue.
Shout out to Crit, bro.
Go
Whoever
ahead.
he at. Actually, sidebar. I actually did some assistant audio engineering for one of Crit's shows in Norfolk.
Tough.
Okay.
I only think Crit knew who I was, bro. But
More air horns right here, Trey.
stop, bro. I only think Crit knew who I was, but I knew the engineer who was doing the show.
Yeah.
And he needed assistance. He was like, hey, bro, I need an engineer who know what they're doing. Can you hold us down? I was like, hey, for Crit, of course I will, but this the price. And he was like, hey, bro, we got you. So all praises was a blessing. But
Tough.
word, it was on his Digital Roses Don't Die tour. Shout out to Crit.
Congrats
But
on that, man.
but no. So what I'll say is it was Cole, Crit, and Drake. And then I'll even throw in Kendrick and say he was a big part of it. But I'm not gonna lie. I was introduced to Kendrick very late.
Okay.
Kendrick
I was too.
very late. I knew Cole was producer for Kendrick because I was that big of a fan for Cole. But my brother Silky, shout out to Silky, he convinced me to listen to Kendrick around 2013. So I had to go back.
See, I found him because of J-Rock.
Yeah, because a lot of people say because of J-Rock. Shout out to J-Rock. I had to go back and catch up on Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it. Hard Part, everything to Hard Part 4.
Yeah.
It's fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna end up turning the questions up at some point.
No, it's all good. I'm with it. They're gonna cancel the pod.
And you're, well, not because you are a man of many different faces and facets, but it all is on the same path.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you roll down one, it's like driving down Kekatan.
Facts.
So if you drive down Kekatan, you'll see just about every house of every income down that road at some point in time, or you'll see a road you can turn down where you can have a different income. Kekatan will end up eventually taking you to 25th Street.
Yep.
Or it'll take you over. It'll take you over by the water. I forgot what that street is called. But it'll take you down so many different places, and to me that speaks to who I viewed
Chesapeake
you.
Avenue.
Chesapeake Avenue. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
That speaks to who I viewed you as a person for quite some time, because it just depends on where you started your car at before you started driving, and which Dre you gonna get on this specific day. But nothing has ever veered off the beaten path, at least when it came to you. Even down to you playing football back in the day.
I appreciate that.
And I don't know how many different people know that, but yeah,
I never talk about it no more.
back to you know, being an athlete. Even your mission back then was, the main thing was, I gotta take care of my family. That was the main thing with you always. I gotta take care of my family.
Absolutely.
You'd have now evolved with that same exact path to, I'm still gonna take care of my family, but I have music, I have the word for sure, because you also work out at church. My man is the closest thing to a botanist you could come up with. He has his own garden. He also creates his own recipes and seasonings out of the garden. Like, just about anything that you could veer on that ventures down the path of purity in some sense. Yeah. You have been on that wave, and it's all been for the same purpose of representing for Most High and providing for your family. How have you managed to stay so consistent down that path, despite, out of the 6 things that I've named, where all of these different paths could take you to either Yorktown or to Norfolk? how have you remained so consistent on that path with your journey? It's intriguing to me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, I appreciate you, and Lord knows I ain't trying to end up back in Norfolk. You know, you
currently in Norfolk. So
fact, yeah, you spill a cup of water over there on Granby Street, it's gonna flood.
Shout out Norfolk. He ain't lying, no.
One, I appreciate what you said. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. I've known you for a while, and I've trusted you for a long time. And what I'll say is, honestly, bro, I can't take the credit and say there was anything I did. I'll say I have to give that credit to the Most High, and say trying to live by those scriptures has kept me on that path, because like we talked about earlier, the Bible says, you know, a tree by the fruit that it brings forth.
Right.
So for me, if I'm a man of the Most High, if I'm a man that walks after the heart of Christ, no matter what tree I am, is going to bear the fruit that it should. So when I go to these different paths, if I see something, I'm like, okay, I ask 2 questions before I step into something new. I ask, is it fruitful or not? If it's not fruitful, I don't even step into it. And I think that's been something that's helped me step into other areas and then it be as fruitful as some of the other areas, because I'm asking that question from the very beginning. I'm considering my ways, like the scripture says, from the start. I'm not going to say I'm perfect with that. I've made mistakes. I just don't think they've been publicized. Thankfully, I hope they never get publicized. But I'm willing to talk about them, because I think about much as, I mean, I even go back to your last album. No, not your last album. Because you dropped basically 2 albums since then. But the album me and my brother came to listen to at your house.
Oh no, that was the last one.
That was the last one.
Yeah, Zeus. Yeah.
Zeus. So you know what? You dropped 2 songs since then, but not 2 albums.
I dropped the mixtape. I actually haven't dropped anything since that mixtape.
Okay.
But it was a mixtape. I think it was 4 tracks on it. That's Crazy too. I dropped that. But after Zeus,
you chilled out.
I sat down. That was the 3rd album.
I knew it was That's Crazy too. Yeah, that's why I said you was like Drake. Man.
IDK was. IDK. Well, no, the one that you listened to was Zeus, but IDK often gets misconstrued as either my first or my last, because it has more of the songs that people kind of know me from, even though I'm not known. So
I feel like you know. I feel like you know. I feel like it's all perspective. Well, you see, here you go. Here you go. Yeah.
You know what? I'm not gonna do that again. I learned my lesson when I went to Florida and I was there on vacation, and everyone knew I was there to battle. I learned my lesson. Chico, you taught me my lesson, bro. I'm not gonna say, okay, whatever y'all say, I gotta believe.
Hey,
I gotta believe.
Because people pay attention, bro. They do.
You're right.
A lot of people watch silently, bro. It's a lot of people who watch you but this is the beautiful thing about, I feel like, the responsibility the scriptures give you. A lot of people watch you every day and they'll never say it.
Yeah.
But they look up to you or they hate on you. I'm fine with either one, as long as you're watching. I'm fine with both. But my thing is this.
Sorry.
You got
I'm glad there's no camera.
I'm with you. You got some inside jokes.
This guy.
It's all right.
I'm gonna cut the camera. It's all good.
This guy.
I'm not putting that on social media. I'm not posting that. But
Bro, you can't be
But-
petty
Would y'all
for
say
not
pregnant
one day.
silence? that silence was carrying, won't it? No, you speaking right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot they watch you, and I'll say, there's a lot of celebrities now. They have this very skewed perspective. I actually don't like it. They say, it's not my responsibility to represent anything but myself, and to a certain extent, that's true. But you when you walk out the house, if you're a husband or if you're a man, you represent your entire family. You represent your wife.
Facts.
You represent your family. You represent your father's name,
Facts.
your mother's name. You got a whole entire legacy on your back. And at least for the sake of that legacy, and then that legacy extends to your community. So these people are watching you because although they won't admit it, and although we may not admit it out loud, they realize you are a part of a legacy and a part of a community, and they want to see the outcome of it. So they're watching you, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
They are.
I
And
know.
I know.
I'm saying, if they wasn't watching you, then they wouldn't know anything about you. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day,
100%.
good or bad.
I hope I answered the question. I know I kind of took it off. But
No, it's cool. Let's see. You are an advocate of truth.
Absolutely.
That's how I'll turn the gain up a little bit on the conversation. You are an advocate of truth, no matter the means. And by the means, I mean it seems a bit of pointing out that even within the powers that be, there is a bit of an existential crisis within that, and those people are starting to leak out.
Of course.
The existential crisis is starting to leak out and it's starting to show. There has been one person that I know that has been on that wave for quite some time, since Instagram used to be gray.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
I don't know if y'all remember when Instagram used to be gray.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's somebody who has been on that wave for a long time. You've had YouTube pages removed.
Yep.
You've had posts flagged on multiple socials.
I've lost Twitter before Elon took over.
Shout out Elon.
Shout out Elon.
Freedom. Free my boy
Freedom
Dre.
is crazy,
He freed my boy.
You a clown, bro.
But there is one way that I think we're very similar, but down two different paths. I'm very bullheaded, and I'm very ignorant. But I'm not ignorant because of what has been labeled amongst black people of being ignorant.
Yeah, I understand what
It's
you're
to
saying.
acknowledge what's going on, but to ignore that purposely.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
In the path of truth and finding real information, you got to ignore a lot of stuff.
You do.
So in that path, you have chosen the path of I'm going to grab this information. I'm going to be ignorant to the pseudo information that y'all have been putting out for the past hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to remain bullheaded in the purpose of promoting what I know to be truth.
Yes.
When do you feel that path started for you?
I know it sounds crazy. I don't want to take it there, but if you remember, I'll say it started with my father's death, and rest in peace to my brother Levi. I don't know if you
Rest
know
in peace,
Levi.
Levi. Absolutely.
Levi passed away in 2022.
I never
and,
met him. I heard so many great things about him. Yes,
Sorry,
absolutely.
Bro, y'all were a lot alike. Y'all would have got along. I was so mad. I kicked myself. Quick sidebar. I kicked myself because I remember in the studio group chat I had with Silky and Levi.
Yeah.
I remember telling Levi I was gonna set up a meeting between you and him because I wanted y'all to do a song.
Yeah.
Because y'all were so much alike. And 2 months later he ended up passing away.
Mm.
But that was on me. I mean that's a lesson to say don't when you have those thoughts like you think to call somebody and then you wait around to call them. I'm learning now when I have those thoughts I need to just act.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But to answer your question, what I'll say is I feel like it started with my father's death, and I don't want to sound cliche because a lot of people who go through trauma, we say it starts with that trauma. But I mean, I genuinely think that is. I mean, even psychology teachers, Jordan Peterson writes in his book, he talks about it's at a point in a man's life, no matter how old that man is, he becomes a man the day his father dies.
I was actually just going through that quote in my mind earlier this week.
Really?
Ironically, yes.
Crazy, bro.
Yes.
And I was 11 when he passed away, and I was beside him when he passed. And I'll say, seeing that, it made me reflect. I think I immediately had to grow up because not only did I have to help my family, help my mom provide for the family at that point, Later on, my uncle ended up being murdered, so he was taking care of my cousins, doing some things like that. And it was just these situations that forced me to think like an adult. So I think I was plunged into adulthood with a child's curiosity.
Yeah.
Adults are so beat down that they're not as curious as children by the time they become adults.
Facts.
So a lot of times adults don't ask the questions that children are going to ask about a situation. Adult is just going to walk in and look at the necessity and say, don't matter how I need to get it, I'm just going to get it. A child is going to be like, why I need to get this and what's up with that and why this doing that and what's that? And they going to be like, look at me and turn around and spin and you can be like, you ain't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's how children do. So I feel like I was like a middle child. Shout out to J. Cole.
Yeah.
I was a middle child because I was like, I was an adult so young, but I also had a childish mindset in a good way where that curiosity was there.
Yeah.
So I asked so many questions, bro, and I think that's what plunged me into that. And then I'll say, truthfully, it started with music. When I was in 8th grade, because my grandfather, he was a musician, and I was begging him to teach me how to play the guitar before he passed away.
Yeah.
He got very sick. He didn't get opportunity to. So I just taught myself drums and piano because I was scared of the guitar. But he had warned me and my family about a lot of weird stuff in the music industry. He was like, stay away from it. That led me down a research path that just became a rabbit hole. And I'll say it all started between my father's death and my grandfather's death because I had to grow up and I started to think like an adult and I started coming across information. I hope that makes sense. I'm rambling. But
Honestly, that's not rambling. That's providing a scope that I probably have heard from you before, being that me and you are actually close.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think I've heard you expound on that like that on any platform.
Yeah,
because although you say it's cliche, it's not cliche. It's very matter of fact.
It's a fact.
There's no mystique behind it. This happened, and this is a result.
It's cause and effect.
Oftentimes we look at simple facts as being cliche when it really don't be cliche like at all.
Facts.
Excuse me. Just to veer off, just as a refresher. When did you start playing football?
I started playing football in 2nd grade, and I stopped playing football sophomore year of college.
And what halted your career? Because I saw you were the size of a running back, but shiftiness and quickness, I saw you as like a slot.
You're a smart man.
Yeah, I was about to say a slot wide receiver. Your height probably would have kept you from playing corner. But as a slot receiver or as a running back, that was how I viewed you, and you had the intelligence to be able to play the running back position. Because in my personal opinion, in order to play running back, you do have to see the field like a quarterback.
You got to see vision, absolutely.
And if you don't see the field like a quarterback, you gonna keep finding yourself getting into the very exact hole that you're not supposed to be running through.
It's filled up.
You can't read lanes. You're not going to be able to see in between run blocks. You're not going to know what's behind the line, being that most running backs are shorter than the 6'6", 350-pound behemoths that are up front. So if you sitting there behind them, you do have to have some sort of wherewithal to what's going on around the field, as well as knowledge of the playbook. So what halted you from that path? Because I knew you as an actually very talented football player.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. So now I feel like it was the Most High. But at the time, I'll say it was injuries. I was getting terrible migraines all throughout elementary school and middle school and high school, but I was getting away with still playing football.
Yeah.
In college, that became a major issue. And off the record, I'm not speaking for Norfolk State's athletic department. There's nothing against them. With those migraines, they were not willing to take the chance on the scholarship that I thought I deserved to play. So I had to stop playing. So I'll say migraines and concussions is what took me out. But I'll say, like as far as positions, like you said, my whole life, it's crazy that your size will dictate what you play, especially in the pros and in college.
Absolutely.
In high school, I played both sides of the ball wherever they needed me. I was wildcat quarterback, running back, slot receiver mainly, and
you went to Heritage, right?
Heritage, yeah.
Shout out Heritage.
Shout out to Heritage and corner mainly. And when I got to college, like you said, smaller guy.
Everybody get bigger the higher you go.
Yep, how you go up. Nickel corner, punt return, kick return, slot receiver.
Facts. Yep.
Skill positions. Yep. So I'll say that's what took me out. But I think that opened up another lane because I always was into health. Like you said, since I was 14, into truth and conspiracy theories and Christ and stuff. So taking me out of football gave me a chance to focus on other things. I got into gymnastics. I got into mixed martial arts and fighting. And then I really got into health, and I focused on getting the certifications and stuff that I have now. You know what I'm saying, to work in health. So I guess it really saved my life, because I feel like football would have took me down a very, I'll say, an arrogant kind of self-worshiping path I didn't need to be on.
I was gonna ask that, because we know the glitz and glam that come with being an athlete.
Absolutely.
In any sport. I mean, we could look at the baseball players, and them boys getting real money over there. You look at soccer players, they get worshipped overseas like gods.
Bro,
like
facts. Deities.
So, just a simple question to close that part out. How often do you think about it, and do you miss it?
I think about it every day, honestly. Because I still see certain things in life as like in football terminology.
You be seeing they trash. That could have been me, man.
Watching the Redskins game, like, no, you dropped the ball, man. I'd have caught that, man.
Come on, Gibson.
But on a serious note, you funny, bro. I still think about it a lot, but now I think about it in a way like what Paul says. I think it's Romans 6, where you look back on the former things and you even regret some of those things because you see how far you've come.
Yeah. So
I look back on the mindset that I had when I was playing football, and I even say now, if I thought the way I do now back when I was playing football, I'd have been a way better football player, bro. And I'm grateful for how good I was, but I've been a way better football player.
Yeah.
So I reflect back on it in that way. And then I borrow some of the skills from it, like, you know, some of the stuff they tell you, like, everybody know you playing sports, you play growing up, you hear like it's 90% mental, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Or like, you know, it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it.
Absolutely.
I take those little tidbits from it and say, you know, that discipline that we learned in football is very similar to military academy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Football is almost like a Marine Corps of its own. So
basketball is the Air Force.
Yep, facts. Facts. Pretty boys. But I agree. So I'll say that's what I take from it.
Okay, you got the question from, because I know I could keep shooting.
Y'all know each other.
So. Yeah, we know each other well. But we're gonna chop it up. We're gonna
go ahead, do your thing, man.
3 hours for real.
Hey, we gonna make it happen.
I just got I just got one question for real.
Of course.
Because I met you. Well, I saw you off of Instagram when you was playing, doing garden. You know what I mean? Planting your foods and your vegetables and fruits and all that. So he brought up that you basically have all that aligned with your day-to-day life and what you do outside of, like, but right now.
Yeah.
So the question is what made you get into gardening, and later on down the line, what made you just be consistent with that and being able to make up your own spices and things of that nature?
Absolutely. I'll say 3 things. The first thing, I got to give a shout out to my sister and my mother.
Okay.
My father grew up on a farm in West Point, Virginia, from King William County. Country boy, he grew up in that environment.
Shout out West Point.
And my sister always said, my sister and my mother would always say, we need a garden.
Okay.
So the thought was out there to do it, but what did it was things got financially tight for the family, which they were tight anyway, but they got worse.
Yeah.
And me knowing what I know about health, I was still pushing organic foods. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for me, you know, I can go buy some cheap organic frozen vegetables. I can buy some cheap organic things, make smoothies, etc. And it's better for your health. But the issue became it was difficult to do that for a lot of people in our family. And I said to myself, I was like, you know what? It'll take the excuse away if I can grow the food. One, I know where it's coming from. It's going to teach me how to, you know, provide for the family. But 2, it'll take the excuse away that we don't have the option to eat healthy because we got it right out in the yard. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And the third reason was I was obsessed with Christ and the parables that he was making. And he made a lot of parables about husbandmen work, about gardening, about farmers. Yeah. And I was like, why does he make those parables? And it's only until I got out there and I was growing and I was sowing the seeds that didn't bear. I saw that you need to compost the soil. You got to fertilize. I saw the symbiotic relationship between how we return to dust and we become food for the earth. Yeah. Like you need blood meal and bone meal to have a healthy garden. It's impossible without it. Mm-hmm. And it's like learning these things. It made me understand those parables from the scriptures on a whole different level because I was like, wow, this is what Christ was talking about. So I'll say those are the 3 reasons I got into farming. And now with this evil society we live in, I'll tell everybody right now, and I'm huge. If you can't get into gardening or farming, get into some sort of trade of your own, mm-hmm. and start a bartering system, because in these evil times, when that time comes and we all struggling and we down whatever, we gonna need something we can trade with our loved ones and something we can do to hold each other down.
Yeah.
So I try to tell people, like even if you can't garden, buy a dehydrator. Get organic fruits and vegetables from the store and dehydrate it and put it in a vacuum seal bag. Store it up. Get a pressure canner. Can it yourself. Store it up that way. You know what I'm saying? I tell everybody, have 3 weeks to 6 months worth of food storage if you can. And gardening has really pushed me to that level, so I'm thankful for that. Just thinking of ways I can provide for the family,
Okay, because I asked because that's something I've been thinking about doing for a long time now, especially like gardening and just doing not arts and crafts, but handy things, building a shed or some crap.
Absolutely,
like that,
yeah.
Because I've been watching more of people just go out in nature and make their own huts.
Yeah.
And that stuff I'm low-key into. And I didn't have the ability to do it as a child because I would just always ask my pops to do it. And he didn't do it. So once I got to an age where I can do it, I just like doing it. So what you said, basically being one with the soil itself, to making sure that your garden is growing at it hit. You know what I mean? So that's why I even asked, because seeing you do it on Instagram, I resonated with that as well. I just
Appreciate you, bro.
I understood why you was doing it and understood the passion behind it. So I wanted to ask you in person.
You're a real one, bro. I gotta shake your hand on that one. This is real talk. I'm gonna tell you, bro. And like I said, hit me up, bro. They took my YouTube channel. I got another one back now.
Okay.
They got me at 10,000 subscribers, y'all. But it's all good. We're gonna get back.
It sounds like them IG bios.
Hey, hack me.
Deleted at 15K.
Deleted at 500,000. But my backup page is but no,
Such a liar.
word. Stop the cap, bro. Cut it out.
Hey,
I followed I still follow your old page. It's not deleted. It's not deleted, bro. It's there. But what I'll say, bro, is I only said that to say what I plan on using the new YouTube for is I'm making a lot of shorts and a lot of videos on how to garden.
Okay.
And I'm posting there way more than Instagram.
I'm subscribed.
Bless you, bro.
I watch all of them.
I'm subscribed to the podcast, bro.
For a fact.
I watch every minute of every episode, but I'm posting them to YouTube. And like I said, bro, even outside of that, bro, I know you now. Get my information. We can exchange. You can DM me or text me whenever you need something, bro.
Gotcha.
I'm not me being in health, there are certain things that I do sell, or like consultations, etc. Becoming information like that, I'm not selling it. Like, there's a lot of people who you go to their great farmers and gardeners, and I respect what they're doing. But you go to their bio and they be like, all right, look, buy this package and you'll learn how to do so and so. Bro, with work like that, no, bro, I'm not. All of our families need it. I'm not selling it.
Yeah.
Bro, hit me up. We gonna figure it out.
So you don't believe in the game is the game is not to be told, is to be sold?
I believe in it to a certain extent. The Bible says a workman is worthy of his hire. So I believe if a man is skilled in something, it's worth paying for. It's just my own personal convictions. I'm not going to push that on nobody. There's certain things that I'm not willing to sell because of how important I feel like it is, especially for our community.
Okay. Conspiracy theory question that has never been asked before. Do you think information is a skill?
Information isn't a skill, but I think relaying information is.
I bodied that one.
Yeah.
Because obviously relaying information goes into the title of communication.
Yes.
So if you are able to communicate at an efficient and high level, it is always going to be thought of to be a skill, because I could relay bad information very well and it'll get around very fast.
Yep, a lot of people do that, especially CDC.
But even there you go.
Here we go. We get started. FDA. We getting started.
But just having just being able to have information, I think a lot of people have now associated just having information. You good? There's a lot of people having information. I think they do associate that a little bit with that being a skill set of some sort, when I don't think so many people do not understand the fact that information is meaningless without experience.
Yeah.
Because if you have a bunch of information and I'm able to tell you these things, but I have no wisdom or experience to be able to provide an understanding with the information, I'm only relaying fact. Basically, I'm imitating Google. And anytime I could ask Google a question, Google cannot provide me with perspective. Google can just provide me with an answer. Like, that is literally it. So there are people who will constantly, and being somebody who used to be in a dance community, there are people who will find out information
Yeah.
and just spew the information because they feel like it's time for them to spew the information, but they don't have no information in regards to the past or have any idea of what relevance the information holds to whatever conversation that they are having.
See, this is why I observe. This is why I like look at everything that's going on and observe everything, because not pertaining to what you're saying, but just pertaining to life. If you really read the room, like that term "reading the room" is real.
It's very real.
Like you can't just walk in the room and look at everybody being sad and you're like, oh, why everybody so sad? No, you gotta understand why first. Read the energy, ask the proper questions, then you can get the answers to whatever you're thinking. But other things, as far as like things we read about, even the 48 Laws of Power, it talks about a lot of this stuff, and I don't think that people understand what the 48 Laws of Power is really teaching you to do. It's really teaching you how to get over on people. Really teaching you how to use what you already have, a natural common sense, and add a little bit of more knowledge to that and wisdom to that common sense. So
anybody else in here read that book? The 48 Laws of Power. Anybody else ever read that book?
Because it teaches you how to, one, manipulate people.
I read some of it.
Yeah, it teaches you how to manipulate people. It teaches you how to control your emotions. It teaches you how to basically give information while giving off too much and still getting what you want at the end of the day. So,
understandable. Reasonable manipulation type deal.
Yeah, so that's all it is. And
I learned that from my pops. Shout out to my dad.
Yeah, so it ties into like everything that's going on in the industry right now, as far as entertainment, what I want to say, movies and music and art. Yeah, especially in art, even in fashion and in politics as well. So all of that is spurring out now, and now that more people have the information, they trying to be like, I got the information, so let me say it, but they're bringing out the wrong information, and it's making it harder for other people that has the actual information to relay that information to them, because they're so ignorant to the fact that what they learned is not the truth, and that's a common thing that we go through in this life. For
that is true, and that happens on a daily basis of people. Truth and facts has been molded with emotions. Science is now, what was biological science and mathematics is now
emotion and opinion.
Yeah.
Nah, it's all sociology now.
That's true.
It's everything has become a social science rather than the individual and respective sciences that exist. Everything has now added a social element to it to appease to those emotions that you just referred to appease to the feelings and other people's perspectives, because we don't like feeling when we're wrong as much. Because once we become adults, of course I have my theory. We all have just waited for the moment to be as right as our parents were when we were kids.
Oh, that's
absolutely.
A fact. That's
I mean,
a fact.
So going back to what you said earlier, I think wisdom is the proper application of knowledge.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ecclesiastes, Solomon says, with knowledge there's no end. He said many men can read many books and all it brings is a weariness to the flesh.
Exactly.
So you can learn all the information you want, but if you don't have the wisdom to apply that knowledge, it's useless. And I think what happens is, it says wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. So you got to apply it together to get the stability in a situation.
It's like bringing pesos to Dollar General. I understand you got money, sir, but this is no good here. Like,
it's no good. So, and I'll even take it a step further and say the scripture says the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High. So I'll say what I think it is, like you said, there's a lot of wisdom of this world, which just falls back onto the knowledge. Yeah. And there's a lot of people who have is more than just their perspective. I'll say honestly, it's perverted.
Exactly.
It's perverted, and like you said, it's whatever personal agenda they have, whether it be what you said about trying to be right, like my parents once was. Yeah. Or whether it be I'm trying to take power back when power was taken from me at some point in my life. Whatever that may be, I got a personal agenda. And now I'm going to force my personal agenda on the rest of society, as if they need to live in the world that I live in.
What do y'all attest that to? That specifically.
Why you? I'll let you go because you were just talking.
Oh no, you go ahead, bro.
For me,
it's your podcast,
bro. But you're a guest, so I'm paying respect. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I see that with just stuff that happened before our time, and the only way you can change those things is if you destroy it. and that goes.
Well, that was simple.
Straightforward.
It's honest,
rapture.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
That's what he said.
For
But
if you think
he's
about
not
it,
wrong.
If you think about it, it happens all the time in a different time frame and to a different type of people. And even like he said, even in the Bible, it goes back into like the Noah's Ark. It goes all into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even with the world being rebuilt and like what 5 to 6 times.
Yeah, no. So like he's saying, so the time period is different, but the mentality is the same.
Yeah,
and I get exactly what you're saying. And what I'll say is, I think
I didn't think about it like that. Yeah.
I mean, what I'll say, I think the scripture, or I'll say the precept to what you're saying is, the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think Satan has had an agenda since the beginning.
Exactly.
And people have whatever name they use for Satan. I'm gonna just say Satan, of course, but
It's like 18.
I think, like we talked about before we came up with the title, we're gonna say it on the pod. That ain't really gonna be the title, bro. I'm just playing, but it might be, but
it's still top rank right now. I'm not gonna lie.
At this point, it's the title.
I think when the scripture says the earth was given over into the hands of the wicked, it literally meant the entire earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we don't realize that a lot of things are trickle down effects. So when you look at the society that we come from birth, we're trained up to have that self-worship, that idolatry of ourselves. And that's why the Bible says the heart is deceitful and wicked, who can know it? But the Bible says that, but then the world says no, but follow your heart. But the scripture just said my heart was deceitful and wicked. So am I following my heart? Or like Christ says, if you get a heart like thine, one could argue I'm following my heart, but I'm actually following the Most High because my heart is like thine. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of areas you can look at, but I would just say that perversion started off in the beginning, and now this gonna open up some conspiracy theories. So I mean, maybe you're gonna ask this question, but I'll get into it if you want me to. One example I give, like people say, okay, how can you prove that media, the CIA, the governments, the FDA, the Fraud and Deception Association,
it's right in your face though.
Word.
Like, it's right in your face.
That's the Food and Drug Administration, for those who don't know, but I call them that because they full of it. But a lot of people say, how can you come to the conclusion that these are evil entities, the CIA, whatever, and they have, in so many words, played a mind game with society and trained us all up to be a certain way. MK Ultra, right? How can you claim this is true? Now, of course, we can get into the science and the history and prove that it's true. But what I'll say is this, just using the scripture, I'll say is this, Job 9:24, the earth is given over into the hands of the wicked. Now, fast forward, Matthew 4, Christ is fasting in the wilderness. And Satan comes up to Christ, like the hater he is, and says, if you worship me,
I can make you king.
If you worship me, I will make you king of this entire earth. Now, a lot of people say, Satan will only tempt you with what's tempting to you. A lot of people say that wasn't tempting to Christ, but actually, yes, it was, because throughout the entire Old Testament and New Testament, Christ was prophesied to be king of the world. So Satan was saying, I will give you that kingship right now. You don't have to wait for your Father in heaven to give it to you. I give it to you right now. Of course, that was tempting to Christ. But what Christ responded with, it was two things that was interesting about that for me. One, it was interesting how Christ responded. Christ responded and said, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every living word. So not only did he respond saying, I'm not going to live on, well, long story short, to give you more context, Christ was fasting. Satan told him, break the fast, then bow to me, and I'll give you this kingship. Christ said, I'm not breaking my fast. Man shall not live on bread alone. I think what's interesting about that is, one, Christ actually quoted scripture when he was battling against Satan. A lot of people don't know, but Moses said that same thing in Deuteronomy. So what that shows me is that when you're dealing with evil, that word is your sword of the spirit, like Paul says. That's how you battle it, with the knowledge of that word. And that's why knowledge is power in that moment. But that's where the wisdom comes in, because it's the application of that knowledge. It's a million scriptures, but when and where do I plug them and use them? Absolutely, right? So the second part about that, to prove that the world governments or whatever may be evil, and I know this sounds crazy, is how does Satan have the ability to make Christ king of the entire world unless he already is? How can Satan go to Christ and say, because the Bible says he showed him every kingdom from the beginning of the world to the end of the world. That means he showed him Persia, he showed him Rome, he even showed him America. So if he showed him all of that and said, I can give you this, how could he give it to him unless they already serve him?
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a very
way I see it.
I ain't gonna hold you, and I'm gonna go ahead and add on to that. It's like these record labels do to these artists. if you think about it. What he just said is literally what the record labels do to the artists. It's like they'll give you the stuff that you already about to work towards and get, and then in the midst of that, they're taking it away. They're leaving you with bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Then they put you in a position where
It's always a catch.
they put you in a position where you are vulnerable,
Yep.
i.e., incoherent. So they do what they want, and then they use whatever,
And that's powerful that you said that, bro.
and then they do whatever.
They catch you while you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, and that's even an example. Like I said, Christ was fasting.
Exactly.
He had fasted for 40 days at that point, meaning he was weak by the time Satan pulled up on him.
He was hungry.
Like the hoe he is. So I say that to say, I say that to say, that's how they get us. Like you said, they catch even the NFL, the record labels, all these corporations. They go to the most strenuous parts of our community, get the most talented, stressed out individuals, and say, we will change your life if you sign this contract right here. Knowing that we're at a weak point mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. We're struggling right now.
Because they're not going to read it. They're not gonna
Of
pay
course I'm going to
attention
sign
what's
this
going on.
contract.
Yeah.
Bro, my cousin just was killed and my mother my mother got chemotherapy that we can't afford to pay for or something like
But
that.
do you also realize they set it up that way?
Of course they
you're saying,
did.
They're setting it up. They have their eye on one person, and they'll make sure they're groomed throughout their whole way.
Yep. Of course they
career.
did. Every step of the way. And I know you got something to say. Like
No, because I had a question. Do y'all? Because to me, right? So I have a tendency to bring things back to a very basic level.
I like that though.
I know some people view me as a complex thinker or individual of some sort. I don't view myself like that. I view myself as very base model and base form. I still got stock rims. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at myself
still got
like
stock
that.
rims. No, I view you as an intellectual, but I think you are an intellectual that appreciates simplicity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
And to be able to project on an even playing field, to me, it's always been a goal of mine to be able to do so.
But
So
that's you understanding. It's like different perspectives, though.
absolutely. So now, do y'all hear like a common theme amongst all of this that is removed from the obvious? There's like I don't want to use the word yet, but there's a common theme amongst. We do always put a hero and a villain perspective on everything.
Yeah.
But there is a reason why things get to the way that they are now.
Yeah.
And there's less of one villain and a lot more of minions that assist the villain. And I think a key part of becoming the minion has been, up until this point, arrogance. And imagine the arrogance of thinking that with accepting this one opportunity, all of my problems are solved.
That's true.
Exactly.
Imagine the arrogance of thinking that this one person can fix everything that I have going on, and I'm going to have the arrogance to think that once they give it to me, I'll be on the same playing field with them to be able to operate as they were just operating. So now you don't realize what you signed yourself up for, because I won't call anybody stupid if you signed the contract without reading it, you were arrogant to think that you could override the contract.
Yeah.
I'll never look at people as stupid for signing, especially today. We have the information of the world in the palm of our hands every time we walk around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I only root that now to arrogance because we have way too much information.
I respect that.
And it's because at some point in time, in every book of every religion, the first thing that I usually reflect on whenever I hear a lot of scriptures or a lot of quotes from every book of every religion is they always emphasize accountability at some point in time. They always emphasize discipline and accountability. For one, acknowledge your past, acknowledge every decision that you made and every path that you've been down. Use those things and learn from it. But also, well, that's the accountable part. And then the other side is, if you really want to dedicate yourself in order to meet this end goal, whether it be any afterlife of what anybody believes in, there are rules and regulations that you need to follow, not because this is a guideline on how to get there. It is a guideline to show you how to be your best self so you're ready when the day comes. That's always what I pulled from every book, no matter what the book is. They've always remained consistent with that. So if you're accountable and you're disciplined, it should be able to remove that level of arrogance that ends up leading to how we get to where we get now. You sign in a 368-page long contract that's telling you owe the label $560,000 now because we just gave it to in your bank account. They also don't tell you that you could not touch the money and the money will still get spent.
But they also didn't tell you it's
Part
a
of your
way
budget.
for you to get a 85%, 15% type deal where you own 85% and they only got to give you like money for publishing or some crap like that.
And the loan that they give, because they keep
Yeah.
calling it advance. The loan that they give you, they also charge you for staffing the record label.
Yeah.
They do. Well, I mean,
Excuse me, if I wasn't signed, they'd still be working here, wouldn't they?
I think it comes from. Excuse me. Like you said, it comes from arrogance.
I think that is, other than, well, I think glutton is an American thing that has proven to be, well, I guess probably one of the most learned things from European times. But other than glutton, I would say arrogance is easily the most the most used sin.
It's pride. It's pride. Like you said, pride comes.
You think it's
before-
pride?
Well, I mean, I'm equating pride with arrogance in this situation.
Okay,
because pride comes before the downfall.
I usually use pride in the sense of you have to be proud of something.
Yes.
And there are so many people who are not proud of anything but are arrogant enough to walk around with like they have everything.
So I agree with that. I guess I only say the way I use pride is, I think pride is something that has a limitation. Like you said, be very proud of what you've achieved and accomplished righteously.
But they usually put pride in external things rather. Okay, you're right.
But you're proud of the wrong things.
Yeah,
and like you said,
that does
it
go to
gets
pride.
to a
You're
level of arrogance. I agree 1,000%.
Yes, you're right.
And that's why I think it's pride before the downfall. Because like you said, I can be proud of my talents for sure.
Like Vegeta.
Facts like Vegeta. Facts. Shout out to Vegeta.
Shout out to the Prince.
Shout out to Bulma. But
Hey, yo, stop it, bro.
shout out to Beerus. But
Shout out to Yamcha.
We're not shouting out Yamcha.
facts.
Nah, Yamcha Ray J for real.
Or
Bruh, stop.
or Krillin.
Krillin.
But no, on a serious note, man, like
Now, how Krillin hang with God Blue Goku?
We're not gonna get into that right
he
now.
All right,
can't, bro.
you're right.
He can't, bro. It was cap. It was cap.
It was like,
That's pride.
it's like your father
Krillin,
racing you,
You
bro.
thought you
Like,
was getting with Goku Blue, bro?
Bro, I saw
Are
that
you
ass.
crazy?
But he was though,
No,
so we
no,
gonna call
no.
that. That's the new
That's-
label, canon cap, because
that's
it's
canon
canon,
cap.
but it's cap.
They wrote the cap in.
They
That's canon
they
cap, bro.
Like I
intertwined
said,
the
bro,
cap.
it's like you racing your father. You know your father gonna win. But,
He gonna smoke you.
But when you think you getting past him a little bit in that mind, in your mindset, you won. Like,
But that's-
you got that dub.
I'm gonna tell you, this new empowerment stuff that's happening is getting mad. I'm seeing it even in the animes now. I'm like,
Empowerment and inclusion is ruining the world. I'm not.
it's ruining the earth.
I'll
bro.
get canceled saying that.
Hey,
I mean, it's the truth,
I've
though.
been canceled twice already, but they can do it again.
Facts.
Bro.
Elon freedom.
Elon freedom. Thankfully, I was free a little bit before Elon.
Oh, for real?
But I will say, my Twitter ain't been flagged since Elon.
Shout out Elon.
So we up.
Shout out
We
Big
up. We
Big
up.
E.
Word, Big E.
Biggie no small.
Falcon 9 gonna fly anyway. Anyway.
I'm sorry for that.
What is going on, bro?
Anyway,
I apologize.
I forgot what I was about to say.
All right.
Next question.
Okay. Let's see. Did you have a feeling of empowerment a bit? That feeling of pride that we just talked about on the positive side of it, because I do think everything that's good for you still needs to be taken in moderation. Too
Yes.
much of anything becomes bad for you.
Yes.
Was there a sense of pride when you actually got your pages taken down?
It was, and I would say I became arrogant in that moment
I like
because
that. I like that.
I was like, I had a quote on one of my songs. I didn't drop the song yet because I wasn't finished with it. But I was like, imagine like regular niggas, like their ops is like niggas around the neighborhood. I was like, imagine if your ops was the CDC. I was like,
That's 6 million streams right
I
there.
was like, how hard you got to go for your ops to be the government?
That's
Like,
hard. That's hard.
That's
hard.
Julian Assange level op. Like
That's everything
that's-
all y'all conscious rappers aspire to be.
Right, bro.
I was like, when Instagram was flagging me, like, and this is my thing, like, I follow all the cases. I was in Mark Zuckerberg DMs. I was like, you are a hoe because Facebook, hear me out. I was like, Facebook can't track child pornography and take it down, but the moment I post something about a vaccine, it's flagged immediately.
Facts.
Oh
And you
my
telling me
God,
y'all
bro.
can't get child porn off Facebook because they dropping it too quick? But I post something about vaccine, and then it get warning. This message, fact checkers actually.
Bro.
First off, who the fact checkers and who hired them?
During that era, that junk was weird, bro.
But that's censorship.
There's some chick in
First
India.
Amendment rights immediately being taken away. But this was my point though. Like, what you say?
It's some Indian person behind the computer. The same people that's always providing English customer service.
Customer service.
Scam call.
I'm not gonna do the accent.
Hey, you ain't gonna fit me if you do it. It is what it is.
I know who I am good. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm weak.
Shout out to y'all. I love y'all.
But I give that example to say, I did deal with some arrogance, and the Most High had to humble me in that time, because I was off Instagram for a while. People, I was seeing people at church events like, bro, you ain't posting in a while. I was like, I know. I was like, facts.
Been gone.
It's not by choice.
Word. So, but I had to humble myself, because I was like, bro, you know what? Christ said, greater things ye shall do, but the scripture also says they did worse to Christ. So I was like, and then scripture also says they hate you because they hated me first. And I thought to myself, if there's anybody I know going through anything similar where the government is censoring, or the powers that be, or the platforms that we use are censoring your information because you give the truth, I think to that person and I say, you are doing something great. Even if I don't agree with everything you're saying, you're doing something right.
Exactly.
When they censoring you. And Christ said, have I become your enemy because I gave you the truth? So when I reflected back on that time, bro, I had to humble myself.
Oh, say
I was
that
like,
again? That was powerful. Say it again.
He said, have I become your enemy because I gave you the truth? You annoying. It's facts, though.
Bro,
all right, you're right.
Stop being a head ass, because you did that.
You're right.
That was like that fake. That one over. Yeah.
Y'all gonna understand what he talking about next episode. But
he faking right.
he gonna drop that heat next episode.
Oh man.
But I give that example to say, in that time period when I was censored the most, during the scamdemic, not the pandemic.
It was a scam. It was a pandemic, scamdemic.
All that.
Yeah.
I thought to myself,
PPP loans, boy.
I was like, you know what, bro? And bro, it was like I was living in a world that nobody was in. Bro, did you know I didn't wear a mask the whole time?
Me neither, for real.
No vaccine, no mask, none of that.
Didn't get sick.
And didn't, bro.
Like,
But what's crazy
Didn't get
is,
sick, bro.
working in health, I saw people around me losing their minds,
Facts.
threatening me because I wouldn't wear a mask.
Mental health became the biggest thing during that time
Yeah.
period.
Word. And to me, what it exposed was this. You have, and Christ said, Peter told Christ, Peter was like, I love you. Christ was like, if you love me, feed my sheep. And I used to look at that scripture and be like, why was Christ referring to people as sheep? But 2020 exposed it all.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
average
right.
person is sheep. And that's the reality of it. And
Yeah.
there's no disrespect. We need leadership.
It's all disrespect.
I ain't gonna
Y'all
hold
heard everybody was getting sick and y'all got water and toilet paper.
I ain't gonna hold it.
Y'all got
What
water
made
and
me
toilet
sorry
paper.
for what it
Y'all
was,
y'all
bro,
sheep.
No, for real. Like,
Facts.
what made me see it for what it was like, y'all are like 30-some years old and y'all just started washing y'all hands. That's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
They just started washing their ass.
That's crazy.
That's nasty, bro.
That's crazy.
I was like, that's ridiculous.
Hey, listen.
That's crazy work.
In these
But-
dance sessions, I know a couple of you niggas. Y'all
know
getting musty during the
He getting
opening
them off.
session.
He getting them off.
Bro,
Yeah, but listen to
bro,
it.
no, because Larry know what I'm saying is true, bro. If you look at like how church services go, and they got the pamphlet to let you know how the service go. They got the opening song.
They got the
They might have
program.
opening prayer.
Yeah, they got the
Oh
program.
my
Yeah.
God.
During opening prayer, imagine a person preaching musty during opening prayer.
Bro, what?
How y'all be musty during opening session and we ain't start dancing yet? The music just cut on. So yeah, they just figured out how to wash their hands, bro.
They getting into it. But I'm gonna tell you, bro. This was sad. Like you said, a lot gets exposed. We gonna pray they take some showers. But on top of that,
Moment of silence for showers.
All right, there we go. Quick one. Quick moment. Quick moment.
We don't need to get out too much time. Y'all already stink. We don't need to let that stink marinate.
That's
y'all.
crazy.
Moment of silence.
Continue, bro. Continue.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I guarantee that this gonna get the most views out of all of them, bro.
Hey, bro.
This one gonna be
I
up.
can't breathe.
Absolutely.
Soon as you
This
drop it-
Andre Rashad.
Stop, bro.
Air horns.
That's not why. That's not
Andre
why, bro.
Rashad.
That's not why, bro. But the CDC gonna see it. But I'm gonna say this. what it exposed to me was you have trustworthy people and non-trustworthy people. You were somebody who I thought I could trust you before 2020. And I say this in a disrespectful way.
Yeah.
I thought I could trust you because I thought I knew you. I knew I could trust you after 2020 because of your perspective during that time. One, you didn't lose your mind. And two, even when you saw me being attacked, looking crazy on socials, I still was your friend and your brother.
For sure.
For sure. That let me know I could trust you. I mean, because I feel like in life you have two people. You got Judas and Peter. Peter is somebody who he made a mistake. He denied Christ, but he atoned for his mistake because he's not perfect. And then he came back and he was the greatest servant and the greatest prophet, arguably, that Christ had. That's why Christ built the rock of the church upon Peter. But then you have Judas, somebody who from day one was always jealous. A hater. Was always jealous.
Right, that's me.
Always want... Cat. Cat, stop.
All right. That's the last. That's the last
Cat.
Bro, we leaving it.
Larry, I'm sorry, but that's the last
Word.
one.
Man.
Word. Then you got Judas. You got somebody who will betray you because from day one, that's what they was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like...
Yeah, you're right. That's not me.
I appreciate Bill Gates, fuckboy Fauci, excuse my language. I appreciate...
Watergate. My bad.
Hey,
My bad.
I appreciate all those evil people who set in motion what they set in motion from 2001 when they had SARS-CoV-1 and then SARS-CoV-2 in 2019. And the only reason I appreciate them is because they helped me see in my life, which they did for a lot of us, who was Judas and who was Peter. I had family who would not see me. I'm not going to disrespect anybody. I had family who would not see me because I wasn't vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And then that same family is reaching out to me now.
Trying to get the game.
Because I know I'm a certified wellness coach. I work in health. They're reaching out to me now saying, I'm having these health issues. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah,
can you help me? And my question is, what did you do different in the past 4 years that you didn't do before?
Toilet paper.
A mask.
And this isn't me bashing anybody who got the vaccine. It's a free country. You got the right to take it.
Facts.
But my thing is, if I respect your right to take it, respect my right to not take it.
Absolutely.
So it's just one of those situations where, and then me working in health before that, I have a Substack where I write medical articles. My major was mass communication and journalism, but I took that after school and became a medical journalist, where 95% of the articles I write are always focused on health and vaccine research.
Tough.
They were censoring my articles before 2020, but not really like they were in 2020.
Yeah.
And what I found interesting is there were people who actually woke up in 2020 and they actually was like, bro, a lot of the stuff you've been writing about is making sense now. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate that. That even made me humble myself and say, just because somebody denies you one time, they won't always deny you. Have that open door policy where you can come back with some information.
Right.
And that was humbling too. So what I'll say is I'm not thankful for the people we lost. I'm sorry that happened. I'm not thankful for all the kids that was vaccinated. We got athletes dropping on the field. When have you ever seen that happen? We got crazy stuff happening. Myocarditis is running through young adults.
19-year-olds having cardiac arrest.
Pericarditis in 19-year-olds.
Shout out Bronny. That boy made it, man.
Word.
We can get into that later.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in the next episode. That's cool.
Word. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you got these crazy health events. You got young people having strokes. You've never seen it before. Mm-hmm. You got a new term called turbo cancer. They find it at stage 1 and in 2 weeks.
Excuse
me? Google it, bro. They find it at stage 1 and in 2 weeks.
What was the name?
Turbo cancer. They find it at stage 1 and in 3 weeks it's stage 4. How did it progress so fast?
They're lying.
These new things coming out now.
That shit venom.
It's crazy. It's venom.
What? Bro said turbo.
Bro.
Yo, the fact that they could just throw words as prefixes on the other words. Remember Super Satan and Family Guy?
Bro, Super Satan. He was worse than Satan. What? He was worse than Satan, bro. Yeah, facts.
Bro was on the motorcycle. Like, oh, what? This worse?
Somehow, because of his medium of travel,
Bigger
he was worse
jaws.
than Satan. But that's funny, bro. But what I'll say is,
wow,
that let me know that, like you said, all they have to do is socialize it, throw a definition to it, and it makes sense to people.
Facts.
In 1991, I could be wrong, the National Institute of Health, the NIH, did a study. And they redid that study in 2011. What they found was America, as a first world nation, medically, we have more sudden infant deaths in this country than most third world countries.
Yeah.
And we have clean water and sanitation. A lot of people say vaccines eradicated disease. Not necessarily. Clean water and sanitation. The toilet doesn't get the credit it deserves. Clean water and sanitation eradicated a lot of diseases. For sure. I'm telling you, bro. Go back and do the it's there. Go back and do the research. But what I find interesting is there are countries that don't have that, and our infant deaths are higher than theirs. It's called SID, sudden infant death syndrome. It's been climbing in America since 1986. That's when they passed the Childhood Vaccine Safety Act. What's interesting about that is I never in my life heard of SAD until 2021. SAD is sudden adult death syndrome. When did that pop up? I ain't never heard of that. Bro,
you got me. You got me on that
2020.
Where did that come from?
Probably 2020 during COVID. For real.
Exactly.
Bro, that's why I was reading up a lot of that stuff. They had a whole agenda for that. They was planning on when COVID was going to start, when it was going to end. It was really supposed to end September 2020.
I just want y'all to know, although Larry has been quiet, this is his episode.
Facts.
I didn't know this until now. He been waiting to get his shit off. I did not know.
Bro, it's like what Eddie Griffin said. You never know what a nigga knows. So it's like, bro, I have a lot of knowledge that I just keep to myself and I just read up on it. And
I'm gonna tell you, bro.
Time to talk about it, it's time to talk about it.
I was about to say, bro, both of y'all are very knowledgeable. As much as you can, don't keep it to yourself. But like you said, there's a time and place. Only reason I say that because I walked into a lot of rooms in 2020 without my mask. Mm-hmm. And there were people who would come up to me and say to me, I don't want to wear it either. I just was afraid to.
Yeah, you're forced to.
Yeah, and I was really like, no, bro, take it off. So they know it's two of us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know who thinks like you.
Someone just had bad breath, so they need.
Hey, that's crazy.
I ain't gonna hold you, bro.
Breathing your own stank breath for 2 years.
Nah,
woo!
Bro,
if you ain't learn how to brush your teeth, wash your hands by then, you a different beast.
To go back to what he was saying, like, people are nasty though, for real. Because like, it was one lady on like, I don't know, it was Instagram or Twitter. When she took her mask off and used it to scoop up her dog poop, put it in the trash.
I saw that.
And she put it back
on
her
the mask.
face.
I think she might have flipped it and then put it back.
But still, it's still
That's
nasty.
crazy.
That's nasty.
But look at where we live. This ain't no third world country, and we doing that.
Bro, no way
she was in a suburban neighborhood too.
Man,
like
they be the one. If anything, show like it really exposed who is really dirty. Who is really like guinea pigs?
That is an unclean spirit. Like that is on a spiritual level.
It shows that we're not as far removed from Europe and the Black Plague as we think we are.
Honestly,
that's what COVID really showed me.
I'm so glad you brought up the Black Plague, bro.
Because even the origin of that, all of the origins of these things, when you look at it in retrospect, none of it makes sense.
It doesn't.
And it just went away out of nowhere.
Like we talking about bats starting COVID.
Cap, bro. I had a question, right?
What are we talking about?
So I had a question. I was like, and this how they socialize you. I was like, maybe it's just me, but
Shout does getting canceled.
Facts. I was like, maybe it's just me, but they was mad at Trump for calling it the Chinese virus. That was funny to me. But
I didn't know we was going to hear. All right.
Somehow, I know we about to wild out.
Yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom.
we about to wild out. We about to wild out. Listen.
He's like, this is just a real life show.
Oh man. Somehow that was more racist than saying at a Chinese seafood market they was cutting off the heads of bats and they was eating raw bats, and that's where the virus came from. So it was more so they said that was the origin of the virus, right?
We eat sushi though.
They eat sushi. Y'all eat sushi. I don't eat sushi.
But hear me out.
I love sushi.
But really we say it's a lab leak. At first lab leak was a conspiracy.
To me that was the only explanation.
That's the only explanation.
We own the patent, which means we also own the chemicals that are associated with the patent.
And we work over there a lot.
And it was in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was through Eco Health Alliance. They have it's down in Carolina. Eco Health Alliance.
That's where it was.
Because the CDC is in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But the nonprofit that was funded through Peter Daszak and through Anthony Fauci is Eco Health Alliance. That all that contract was signed under the Obama administration. Trump should have stopped the funding. I don't know why he gave Fauci so much power. Because
they work under
simple
the same
for that.
tree.
But
because Trump is used to hiring people.
I mean, yeah, and it's two wings of the same bird. Like you said, it's two wings of the same bird. But like you said, that virus came from American funding. And for me, the news was like, it's so racist for y'all to say it came from a lab. How is it racist when y'all saying it came from a Chinese wet market?
I never heard
That's
that it was
weird.
racist saying it came from a lab.
Bro,
that was the thing?
They said it was a Chinese.
Because I remember I live under a rock, so like hearing somebody say something's racist when you say it comes from a lab versus someone saying Chinese virus is crazy.
But it also proves his point of how everybody was just out of whack, though.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I feel like people were trying to find something to hold on to.
They were trying to find an answer to a question that they didn't have.
And they looked to what they believed to be the credible sources at the time. Mm-hmm. And I gotta respect that and say, you know what? Who am I? I'm not the CDC, so I can't expect you to believe me over the CDC. But I do expect people to do their own research, like the Bible says, study to show yourself approved, and look at things rationally and say, who benefits from this situation? And you know, one conversation I had with I had to turn in a vaccine exemption to my job, and I was talking with HR at the time, and she was like, and earlier you mentioned the Black Plague. She was like, you don't think you're going to be a part of why this virus never goes away if you don't get vaccinated? So I asked her.
I heard a lot of those people.
Bro, I have a conversation with those people every day now.
Fact. I said, let me ask you a question. I was like, you remember the Black Plague? It took out almost 3/4 of Europe, right? She's like, yeah. I was like, what stopped the Black Plague? Was it a vaccine?
It won't.
Then she just paused.
They just moved the rats to a different country.
I was like, what stopped it? She was like, I don't know. I was like, exactly. Do your research. Natural immunity is what stopped it. The way viruses work. So viruses are either extremely deadly and not that transmissible, or they're very transmissible and they're not deadly. So if a virus is going to transmit across the entire world, it's not that deadly. And if it's not going to transmit across the entire world, it's going to be super deadly. And the reason it won't transmit that much is because it's going to kill the host before it can transmit. That's the way viruses work. That's biology 101. We learn these things. So for me, what I was saying was, going through the natural common sense, going through the natural course of life when you're dealing with any type of virus, especially an RNA virus, because COVID was an RNA virus. Coronaviruses are RNA viruses.
DNA versus RNA for people that don't know. Can you explain that?
Yes.
I ain't gonna do it. You go ahead, bro.
It's all in how it replicates, I'll say.
Okay.
Just to keep it simple. RNA viruses, they borrow your RNA.
Hold up.
You good? Go ahead.
RNA viruses.
Ghetto difficulties. Sorry.
RNA viruses, they borrow your RNA to replicate. So it's going to hijack your cell, the factory within your cells, replicate itself, and use that to continue to replicate. Like the common cold, or like
because those are viruses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are actual viruses that you can't.
Yeah, absolutely. But and I won't get into the science on that because that'd be a long, unnecessary conversation. But what I'll say is, I just gave that example to her, and I was like, I'm not gonna say her name, but I was like, what I need you to understand is, these things existed. Vaccines were created in the 1800s. You got the germ theory versus the terrain theory. That's germ theory is that the germ causes the disease. The terrain theory is that the environment, not the germ. I believe in the terrain theory. The example I'll give is you got 10 people walking through the rainforest, and all 10 people get bit by mosquitoes with malaria, right? Or West Nile virus, whatever.
Right.
They get bit by mosquitoes with disease. 6 of them get sick and 4 don't. What was the difference if all the mosquitoes had the disease and all 10 people got bit but only 6 got sick? The difference was the immune system in that person. Yeah, that's the environment that person is in. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily the germ itself that causes the sickness. It's the immune system's inability to defend itself from what's happening. So that was a decent conversation, and now she's somebody who I can actually talk to because I guess I kind of broke the ice with that conversation some years ago. Okay. And now she'll see me and she'll ask some questions. What you think about this? And what you think about that? So I'm rambling, but I'm shut up now.
No, because like I ain't gonna lie. The reason why I understood a lot of the coronavirus being like a fluke, I based it off of the Spanish flu.
Yes.
And the test they went through with the Spanish flu, because they even said a vaccination is supposed to take 10 years. A vaccination is supposed to take 10 years in order for it to get cleared.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you, bro, what's interesting is even longer than that. When you look at most vaccine trials, like you said, they're between 5 and 15 years. Yeah. It's something called post-marketing surveillance, where they'll put it on the market and then keep doing a trial. People don't realize they are part of the trial. That's why they have the VAERS system. The VAERS system is the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. It's where if you have a vaccine injury, you're supposed to report that back to the government. And then that information goes into a database as if you're a part of a clinical trial without realizing it. So like you said, these vaccines are studied for years upon years. It took them 25 years to figure out that the polio vaccine, they got the oral polio vaccine,
right.
They got on the sugar cube, was causing prostate cancer. What?
That's nuts.
How? Hey, that's
Choice of words.
He's a rapper. He's a rapper. He's a rapper. That's a bar.
I didn't do that.
It's in your genes, man.
But continue.
That's a bar too.
DNA.
Oh, that's a
What
that's a bar.
It's biology.
I didn't pause it because of Pride Month that's passed. I paused it because that's a bar. You know what I'm saying?
That's a bar.
Right. I mean, like all this stuff it does come from like I say like middle school education, because I was telling people, I was like, what's the difference between like bacteria and a virus? They couldn't really tell me. I was like, one is a living thing, one is not.
Yeah, and
you can kill what like anything. Far as like heat can kill a living thing, point blank. Heat cannot kill a non-living thing. Same thing as ice. It can't kill it. It is thawed. I mean, preserve it for a different time. That's all it do.
I mean, and it depends on the environment too. Like I think people's lack of understanding on molecular biology, which I'm not going to expect the average person walking around to be Christina Parks, Dr. Christina Parks, and just have 3 PhDs in molecular biology. So I know it's very easy to lie to us about these things because why would we? Well, I got to provide for my family, bro. I'm working at the shipyard trying to provide for my family.
Facts.
Why would I know how viruses multiply? I wouldn't.
That shipyard outbreak was crazy.
It's crazy. And you're crazy. And I said all that to say, it's a situation where I think to myself and I say, it's on us, those of us who do understand these things, to do what I said earlier. I believe you have a gift to do in your music, and break this thing down to the simplest form so people can understand it. So one thing I started doing was I was like, the way our DNA works, there's 3 forms of communication in the body. You got nervous system, which is electrical.
Mm-hmm.
You got hormonal, which is chemical. And you got cellular, which is also, you could argue, chemical. But most of the communication in the DNA that happens is a viral form of communication, almost 60%. So you have trillions of bacteria in your body. You have double that of viruses, and that's how the cells communicate. So it's just interesting that they had all of us so scared of a virus when almost arguably, depending on who you're talking to at the time, 60% of our DNA makeup is viral code. So I just was like, yo, I think there's a lack, like the Bible says, we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge. There's a lack of understanding here on how viruses and bacteria actually work in our body and in society.
They come from the earth.
It's nothing to be afraid of, actually. Like you said, it's just something to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I yield with that. I feel like you got some questions, or you about to say something.
No, I'm honestly listening because I mean, as everybody know, I already do a lot of talking on this podcast, and I don't really say nothing outside of life. So, it's interesting hearing this perspective up close and personal, because it's always easy to follow the videos. It's always easy to follow even other interviews that you may do. And typically when you hear anyone talk about this, the interviewer is usually put in a position to have to sit and listen and try to kind of tiptoe around the answer to either get you to reveal more information without them telling on themselves, or they just kind of just let you go.
True.
I'm kind of in a position now where I'm letting you rock, because I mean, again, knowledge ain't always what you know. Knowledge is to an extent what you know, information, but wisdom is understanding what you don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
So being that I understand that a lot of things that you're talking about, being that I view us to be similar, I also view us to be direct opposites. I do not read.
That's crazy.
I know how to read, and I read very well. I speak very eloquently when I feel like it. I do not read, but I mean, but as understanding how information works and how knowledge works, I do not read. as information works, What's funny is the other title I had in mind was, this might sound crazy, but just as how far as information works, it's like if I can learn in word form based off of what's put on a piece of paper, I also feel like I can learn from the words that are spoken to me. So a lot of my experiences and lack thereof have come from other people telling me their experiences and everything that they've been through. And sometimes even just hearing how a conversation goes, I've learned how to interpret tone more so than I learned how to interpret words, because I understand that, like, I remember, you might remember, I don't know if you remember, I know Troy remember, back in school it was mandatory to have a thesaurus.
Yeah.
like you had to get thesaurus. That was a part of the list that they give you at open house.
Encyclopedia, all that.
You gotta have the encyclopedia. You gotta have the thesaurus. So now, when words have been removed from us, how can we expect everyone to be able to know what to even put down on a piece of paper? When in all actuality, today we have now used emotions to be able to distinguish what words mean, what somebody might have meant behind something. We typically listen to how they say it more so than what they're actually saying, because even in my case, I say a lot of the wrong words because I don't read. But being that I have a very eloquent and knowledgeable mother who loves to read, I have a father who's done a lot of reading in his time, but a lot of his knowledge and experience has been hand-on. If I could even fathom to speak about the many fields that my father has been down as far as his experiences in life, that experience speaks more to how I adapt versus my mother and how I understand. Okay. So I guess I'm saying all of that to say the reason why I do view us as opposites is for that purpose. So when I sit down and listen, I'm more so taking in the information, and I have to adjust how I intake the information, because yours has come from what you've researched. Yours has come from what you've experienced as well as what you have read. Because when you are an actual scientist who does actual experiments and not just reads Google articles and articles that get shared by AI on Twitter, what you actually end up doing is going out and following the steps of an experiment.
Yeah, you do.
You actually have a hypothesis. You actually go out and you do your experiment. You look out to get the data. You look out to get your data, conduct the experiment, and reach the conclusion. Yeah. There are so many people who skip all of the steps to get the conclusion and then say that's their research. Yeah. So I'm really quiet because I'm more so adjusting how I'm hearing everything, because me and you speak very matter of factly. We do. So me and you speaking in this perspective is actually kind of different for me up until this point, which is why I say this is his episode just as much as it is mine, if not more of his, because this ain't something that I've prepared myself for. When it comes to conspiracy theories, I don't acknowledge conspiracy theories because I don't view everything to be a conspiracy theory. A lot of times I see conspiracy theories use facts. Sometimes I see them use whatever is fiction to represent a fact, in which I'm like, that's not a theory, that's just wrong. Yeah. Or that's not a theory, that's just right. like what's facts sounds like conspiracy theories sometimes, and what's wrong sounds like great information sometimes. Yeah. Pardon my silence.
No, bro. Bro, you don't have to apologize for that. For the
listeners, if they care about my feedback.
I think they do. Is your show.
I'm letting them cook. This hour show. I'm letting my mans cook, and
that got to be the meme cover for the show on YouTube, to let them cook.
Let them cook.
but no, bro. I respect and I honor what you said. You're very logical and you're very humble to do such a thing. But I do think, like you said, I don't mind you popping in when you pop in, because I know you're somebody who, what I just got from what you said is, you know when to speak and when not to speak.
Absolutely.
And because you know that, I wouldn't mind you speaking on these topics. But I do appreciate you taking that step back. Now, for me, like you said, I'm so passionate about it because, like you said, I've been around it so much. Yeah. I mean, for anybody who want the receipts, they can hit me up. They can look at my caseload. I've had clients since 2015, saw hundreds of people. I've had over 100 people with autism. Most of their parents are saying the same things about vaccine speculation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm like, it's the proof is in the 100 people ain't wrong. You know what I'm saying? Different people. So I'm gonna paint the picture. Like, so, say I'm a parent, right? I got a child. Usually it's the DTaP, which is the diphtheria, pertussis, vaccine, or it's the MMR, which is the measles, mumps, rubella. It's a 3-in-1. They put 3 vaccines together. which who said that was good science? But anyway,
Smorgasbord vaccine.
right? So you got parents that say, I had a normal developing child, eye contact, smiling, mommy, daddy, looking at me, whatever. Around 15 to 17 months is usually the MMR vaccine on the CDC childhood schedule. They said they went in for the vaccine, and I started to notice a digress in communication and development. And then all of a sudden, the night after the vaccine is a fever. Then the child is vomiting. And then I'm taking then the fever is high. I'm taking the child in. They give Tylenol. You know what I'm saying? The doctors take
There just
care of the
happens
fever.
to be Tylenol on the desk. Just so y'all know the bars he's spitting right now.
Facts, just happens to be Tylenol on the table. Doctors giving baby Tylenol, which is crazy to me because what is baby Tylenol? But anyway.
I've always how often I've heard the term baby aspirin. I was like, what is that?
Right. It's a smaller aspirin. But so it's like then the doctors are saying it can't be the vaccine, right?
Right.
And it's interesting to me because all of these parents have the same story, and these parents aren't crazy. Then what follows is encephalitis, which is swelling of the brain. Sometimes there's transverse myelitis, that's inflammation in the spinal cord. And it's interesting to me because you have millions upon millions of parents who have the same story. That right there that's the scientific method. My hypothesis is if I have millions of parents, if and then statements for the hypothesis.
Right.
If millions of parents are coming up to me saying, at this point in the CDC's vaccine schedule, my child is showing autistic symptoms and they've now developed autism, then it must be the vaccine. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, we can say there's other environmental stressors that cause autism because there are unvaccinated children that also have autism. Because what Dr. Andrew Wakefield, he's a genius, shout out to him. He was a gastroenterologist and he did some studies. And what his studies proved is that the actual action mechanism behind autism is the parts of the brain that get damaged from the encephalitis and the inflammation between the gut and the brain. You got a 10th cranial nerve is the vagus nerve. It connects to everything between the gut and the brain. And it's responsible for motor skills, speech, everything. It's responsible for...
let me pause real quick. Hold up. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. All right, continue, my brother.
Yes, sir. So, Dr. Andrew Wakefield, he's a genius. What he found out was... Like I said, that 10th cranial nerve is the vagus nerve, not Vegas like the place. You know what I'm saying? Vegas with a U, but it connects the gut and the brain. It was interesting is more sensory input on that nerve, and what that means is there's two ways that nerves communicate in the body: is information sent from the brain to the location of the body, or from the location of the body to the brain. The vagus nerve is 90% from the gut to the brain. Yeah. That's why they call it the interior brain, is the second brain. And what's interesting is every single autistic child under Dr. Andrew Wakefield's study, their gut was also destroyed. And he actually found deposits from the vaccine in the gut. So that lets you know what destroyed the gut. But what's interesting to me is when you heal the guts of these babies with autism, a lot of times there's a lot of miracle stories of children who started off nonverbal, and by the time they're 9 or 10 years old, they're completely verbal. You never knew they had autism. They're basically not even on the spectrum anymore. Yeah. And it started with healing their gut at such a young age. So to me, these stories wouldn't exist if that environmental stressor being the vaccine wasn't a factor. Now, of course, there's other things that can destroy the gut and that can cause encephalitis and that can destroy the brain. Yeah. So there's other things that can possibly cause autism. And I'm not going to profess to say I understand it completely. There's a lot of new science coming out every week. I barely can keep up with it. I'm going based upon my experience and what I've spoken to people and the science that I can keep up with. But what I'm saying is, there has to be a correlation. In 2004, the CDC did a study. They tried to hide it, where they went to Atlanta. They went to school districts in Georgia, and they found out that black boys were getting autism higher than anybody else after their MMR vaccines, but higher than any other demographic. I got the study on my phone, but what I find interesting is we didn't hear about it. Why was that not published? We saw an uptake in the schedule after that. We saw the vaccine schedule increase.
Because they was trying to start our bloodline, start our culture, bro. I mean, start the generational, growth that is to come. So.
Don't get me started on that, but
yeah, we ain't gonna get y'all started.
All week.
we not gonna
be
get y'all started on
2-3
that.
hours. I ain't gonna hold you. Just
We
talking.
almost at 2. We cooking right now. But honestly, up until this point, this is one of those things of that water hitting on that microphone.
Bro. I'm sorry, bro.
I'm a damn, bro,
bro.
thirsty? No, you straight. But he leaned all the way back, sip water.
He ain't about to pick up my water.
Yes, sir.
No, I think with for one, if anybody has ever consistently done a podcast, you have.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand how hard it is to talk to your damn self for any period of time, because you don't know how dumb you sound, you don't know how smart you sound, it's hard enough to entertain a conversation with yourself and not sound crazy.
Yes.
Now I'm recording myself talking to myself.
Sounds crazy.
So now you take that with 45 minutes of content, because a lot of people do those one-person podcasts for 30 minutes, 35 minutes. You add a second person, now we can have banter. And everyone still tries to keep it to about the solid 45 minutes to 1 hour range.
Yeah.
When you have information and you're not looking to just talk about clickbaity things like a lot of people end up doing, which we gonna end up doing next episode, but that's we also work in progress. You feel me? So but
do what you gotta do.
But when we have things like this, like these are vials of information that we're receiving.
Mm-hmm.
So me putting this on the time limit, if you say, hey, I got another hour's worth of information, the most I might do is play a song. This is a little quick palate cleanser, and we gonna keep chopping it up, because it ain't no such thing as information people don't need to hear. Yeah. It's always such thing as information people don't want to hear, but it's never such thing as information that people don't need to hear, because at some point in time, some of this needs to be applied. Like hearing you speak about what you just spoke about I take an interest in it because my nephew has autism. So even in the difficulties of watching his mother and his grandparents have to operate with him and how different everyone treats him,
it's tough.
It is very tough to watch, because as someone who can't speak toward having it, and with my perspective, you always think matter of factly when it comes to almost everything. Some things aren't that simple. And once the damage is done, because you're saying there could be miracle stories around the age of 9 or 10 if it's caught at a certain stage. I think my nephew's about 10 years old. So it's like this information could possibly, because I mean, I was going to ask you, what are some of the things that have led to what would be called a miracle? But to me, I wouldn't call it a miracle. I would consider it you treating your body a certain way and it responding to you.
Absolutely.
And or the parents knowing what to do in order to
100%.
Know how to treat the other body that's not their own, because we treat our bodies like 2004 Camrys. That's really how we treat it.
Yeah.
It's on the road, and as long as it got gas in it,
it's gonna go.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna go.
And bro, that's an excellent example, because like you said, and I'm gonna answer your question. And thank you for sharing with that personal information that you shared.
Yeah.
I take it personally too, because there's disabled people in my family with autism. My sister has a disability. It's not autism, but she has a disability. So my entire life I've been around people who deal with these disabilities, and I've had a certain passion for it. So I respect what you're saying. That's why I go so hard on social media about it. I'm like, who gonna tell me I'm wrong? No disrespect. I'm like, the people who live this life for real, they agree with me. So who else do I need to agree with me?
And
I'm sorry.
And I was about to say, to cut straight to what people would ask. You say there is a certain lifestyle that you would have to live in order for the gut to start healing.
Yes.
What would that be in translation to babies? Because whenever we think about kids, we think about strict diets and things of this nature, things that you can't give them and things that you should give them for proper nourishment, even though we giving them chicken nuggets. But you know what's the mind, or what would be a viable path to lead to proper healing of? We can't treat them like we treated our 04 Camry. This the new 2024. We got to treat this a different way than we treated the 04. What do you? Yeah, how would you describe that journey and what to do?
Absolutely. So you want to take advantage of what's referred to as the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system.
Okay.
The more you understand, I tell people, understand your body. Like the example you gave, you see your engine light in the car come on, and you're more concerned about how to fix that car. Well, symptoms in the body is an engine light for the body. I got a headache. That's a symptom. It's an engine light.
Yeah.
You need to figure out what's happening. So I'll say, one, listen to the body because every child is different. But things that I've seen that there's actually science out there you can look up that helps with any form of not just autism. It can be cerebral palsy, any cerebral condition.
Yeah.
I know this sounds crazy, but this is my philosophy. This is not no scientific. There's scientific studies to prove this is correct in my opinion, but this is not anybody's philosophy. This is what I've done with my clients, and I've seen it work. Treat everything like a stroke, and I'm gonna explain why. A stroke. What happens with a stroke is you have physical connections. They're called dendrites, or they're called synapses. And they're like tree branches. These are the nerves that grow throughout the body.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we call it muscle memory, but it's actual physical connection from my brain to my arm through my nervous system that allows me to make movements. When I have a stroke, those physical connections actually get severed. There's something called neuroplasticity and synaptogenesis. And what that is the creation of new nerve cells and new nerve endings, and they grow together and they connect together because the brain has this plastic effect where it can heal itself and regrow itself.
Yeah.
So what stimulates neuroplasticity and synaptogenesis? Exercise, diet, treating your body the way it's supposed to be treated. So now we get into how do we do that for a child. Mothers that have very young children and parents who have children who don't have the ability to be active, something you can do is get a vibration plate. It sounds weird, but the cerebellum is controlled based upon stimulation. So, for example, Dr. John Berkman, shout out to him. He told me a story where he said he was inside chiropractic school. They were slicing brains up, cutting brains in half, and dissecting brains, which sounds crazy, but that's what they was doing. And he said, one of the chiropractic neurologists, old school guys, walked by, and there's a brain on the table. He looks at the brain and he says, "Oh, that person had a lower left limb dysfunction," and then just walks off. Now, everybody in the room, like, how you look at the brain of this person? The body isn't here. And you look at the brain and you say, this person had a lower left limb dysfunction? That doesn't make sense. How do you know by looking at the brain?
The pattern. So
for me, I started to click in my head. I'm like, oh, I get it now. We go do research to see where the, not we, Dr. Berkman and them they go and do research, but they brought it back to us. They go and do research to see where the brain came from. And it was a guy who was a lower left leg amputee. He lost his leg. How could the doctors see that by just looking at his brain? Well, because the brain has this plastic effect. There are certain developmental markers that you'll see in the cerebellum and in different parts of the brain based upon physical stimulation movement. So that's why I say treat it like a stroke, because what's the first thing they do when somebody has a stroke? They go to physical therapy. It's the physical therapy that stimulates the healing. Now, of course, there's other things that you do on top of that, because you got to complement that. Like I tell people, you deal with the physical stress, the chemical stress, and the emotional stress. You cover all three areas through process of elimination. But that physical is the first piece, in my opinion. You need proper stimulation.
Yeah.
Get them a vibration plate, cross crawl exercises. Those are the best two things you can do to stimulate their cerebellum. Second thing you do is you address healing the gut. Gluten-free, dairy-free diet unless it's organic raw dairy. You take anything that's trash, take it out of the baby's diet. Only give the baby, if you can help it, organic whole foods that the baby was meant to have. You can take the same smoothie that you would have. You can give that to a baby like it's baby food. But even more than that, mothers who are breastfeeding, because like I said, you take advantage of the innate immune system. The immune system you get from your mother through her breast milk and from her nervous system and from the father's sperm cell from his nervous system. What you want to do is, if the mother is breastfeeding, she can change her lifestyle. She can eat the necessary diets, necessary vitamins and minerals. She can get the omega-3, the fatty fish, and the healthy fats in her diet. She can get the good bacteria, the probiotics. She can get the folate, the B vitamins. She can get the antioxidants in her diet. And if she's breastfeeding, it will be given to the child. So that's helpful too.
That make a lot of sense. Out of everything that has been said, that make a lot of sense. None of that don't make sense.
Fact. Right.
It all sounds, to the person that's listening, it sounds like a lot of work. I'll put it in layman's terms. Treat your body well, and everything that comes from it will be treated as such.
Yeah, and you know, like,
Your pee is almost brown because it's so dark yellow.
Hey,
That's not
crazy.
good, bro.
You might want to change something, my dog.
And it's crazy because,
What?
and I'll say you are what you eat, and that's why we can't blame children for this. The parents feed them, but you are what you eat. The example I give is the whole reason we are alive. I tell my clients is because the assimilation of nutrients. Your body turns fats to fatty acids, carbohydrates to usable sugars, and proteins to amino acids.
Parent blaming is not a thing, by the way. It's called accountability. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. And what's interesting about it is, if you truly understood, this is why I think how the immune system and nervous system works should be taught in school.
Mm-hmm.
If we truly understood how these things worked, we would treat our bodies better, and we would stop eating some of the trash that we eat. For example, like if I got a banana on the table and I got a McDonald's burger on the table, and I think about assimilation of nutrients. There's no cheat day, no in between. It's either life or death. I say to myself, I'm either going to eat life or death, no in between. This banana is going to turn into eye tissue. It's going to turn into stomach cells. It's going to turn into blood cells. It's going to turn into brain tissue. It's whatever my body needs to get from these minerals is going to turn into, right?
Mm-hmm.
The McDonald's burger is going to do the same thing.
But that banana ain't got no mac sauce, though.
Hey, you're crazy.
Bro, stop it, bro.
America.
You're crazy.
Can't eat nothing but no salt, no
Hey.
cheese,
Oh,
no
man.
sauce.
Hey.
Look at how we think, dog.
Hey, listen,
I'm small, bro.
don't follow him,
Because
y'all.
no cap,
He wild.
I'm always choosing. I would always choose that. I would always choose the banana over the Big Mac.
Absolutely,
no cap.
absolutely.
I don't like either.
And
so
I'm
I
fat,
just fast.
and I would still do that.
And I'm fat.
I would've just fast
No,
in
he
that moment.
he not fat, y'all. He big boned it, but
Black people that don't exist.
it don't at all. It don't.
We obese, man. Stop.
We gotta change our mentality. But
not
that's my point though.
Big
Like
bone with hypertension. It's
Hey,
not
that's
the same.
crazy.
Come on now.
if
You're right. My bad.
if I eat this banana, just as an example, I'm going to get the quality of tissue, the quality of life I'm going to get is only what this thing can give me.
Yeah.
So I'm not. So it's almost common sense. Like you said, you are what you eat. If this is a processed, chemical laced item that I'm eating, that's what my body's going to become.
Right.
And that's a chemical stress. But that's why I say it's through process of elimination. I tell parents of my clients who have autistic children, I tell them, I say, hey, listen, let's do process of elimination. I want you to eliminate every chemical stressor in your baby's life. Just to be safe. Eliminate it all. No cheat days. I'm sorry, your baby can't have M&Ms. There's Red 40 on those M&Ms. Those are chemicals. Red 40 is what they use to paint my Mustang out there. Why is that on M&Ms?
Hey, yo.
My nephew love M&Ms.
Yeah, take it away from him, G. Take it away from him.
I'm joking.
Both of my nephews.
I'm joking. I'm
love
just serious
M&Ms.
though. But why are these chemicals in our food though? You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
And so it's just one of these things where
Nah, Mustang M&Ms is crazy.
hey, Mustang M&Ms, that's a bar.
crazy.
That's a bar.
That's crazy.
That's a bar. And that wasn't me trying to flex. That was me making a point. The chemicals.
I didn't think it was a flex until you said it.
I'm weak.
So now it's a flex.
He's
I mean,
annoying.
you can look at noodles too, the same way, like the Roman noodles.
Yeah, the ramen noodles. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, bro. It's crazy. The chemicals, and it's like, bro, these are industrial chemicals. These are forever chemicals. Sometimes, like glyphosate.
That is a fact, though. Them is some heavy duty chemicals, and so
It's in our food.
the fact that the chemicals that's put in the food is over 5 syllables sometimes.
Facts.
What are we?
You can't even recognize that.
They good, but what are we eating, bro? Like,
Butylated hydroxyanisole. What?
And then
What?
And then people wonder
What's in
why
my
they
food?
say America is the most
that's
unhealthiest state, bro.
Polyethylene glycol 12. What is that?
that's you see, you be trying to think about it. That's that's why it be hitting you right here.
Yeah,
right?
that's why.
I'm like, oh, that's salt. No, it's not salt.
Word.
It's worse than salt, nigga. Like,
It's like you got a
for scientist,
scientific
man.
name for something that go inside my sandwich, bro.
I was about to say that.
Y'all crazy, bro.
I was just about to say that, bro.
That's crazy. Bro. I yield, bro. I yield. I'm talking.
Y'all
too
mad
much.
at monosodium glutamate. Y'all mad at that.
Facts.
Okay, all right.
Facts.
Still gonna eat them gummy bears, though.
That's crazy. Especially when it's healthier options. But I mean, I yield, bro. Like I said, it's-
We all ignorant to our own extent.
I agree.
Let's see. We at an hour and 49 minutes. Because I know what time you got to be out of here. I'm trying to think of, is there anything that I could ask in closing?
Of course.
Let's see. Do you have anything you want to ask while I think?
No, for real. I mean, I just got some stuff to say. As far as just like, actually, no, I probably do got a question. Now that it came to my head. With one of your clients, how you ever had a client that was like delusional?
Absolutely.
To the point where you was just like, you had to like show them the receipts?
Yeah, quite a few actually.
Okay.
And there's no disrespect. The way I see it is like a fish in water. Like I feel like most fish, until they're snatched out of water, they don't realize nothing else exists. I mean, real.
That's true though.
That's true. That's their perception.
That's like us.
That's like us. So
real.
a lot of times when I'm working with clients and I'm introducing these concepts to them, it's almost like it hits them. They're like, "What? That exists?" Case in point, one of my clients. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm gonna just say he works at Riverside Hospital, Newport News. Not gonna say his name.
The one right here.
Well, he used to. It's been a couple of years. I don't know if he still does.
All right.
Haven't been in touch with him.
Because I know that's Riverside right there.
Yeah, it's Riverside.
And there's no camera, so y'all can't see me point. So he's still anonymous.
I'm weak.
J. Clyde.
He was a knee surgeon. Y'all crazy, bro.
No, you're right. He ain't say his name. There's a lot of people in Riverside.
Facts.
Shout out Riverside.
He was a surgeon, and we were arguing because he tore a ligament in his knee.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Listen, bro, you can heal it naturally." He hit me with a smart word, right?
You said he did what?
He hit me with a smart word.
No, you say he did what to his knee?
No, he tore ligaments in his knee.
Okay.
I want to say it was his LCL and his ACL. I don't remember which one it was. But I was like, hey, listen, I tore my MCL when I was in college. You can heal it naturally. You don't need the surgery. And he came to me and he was like, I don't believe that's true. He was like, I've been a surgeon for 30 years. I've never seen a ligament heal naturally of this magnitude. So because he hit me with a smart word. He was like, he was like, the knee is avascular. So what that means for people listening is there's no blood vessels in that part of the knee. So he was saying that because there's no presence of the blood flow there as far as blood vessels, it can't heal that way. And I was like, it's avascular, but it's not acellular. And then like he froze. And what that means is cells are there.
His scientist brain kicked in right in that very moment.
Right in that
bro
moment.
Had a brain blast.
Bro, you get fluid in the knee, but it's no, you know what I'm saying?
It was.
That's all I'm thinking.
It was like a light bulb came on, and he was like, I was like, so if cells are in the knee, and we know cells replicate and they can be replaced, can the knee be healed that way? And he was like, I still have never seen it. So I was like, I just told you I did mine that way. I gave him some exercises, gave him some water aerobics. He still didn't want to do it, right? So he went and had the surgery. Some time passed, some issues with the surgery. He had to get surgery again. Somebody both of us knew went through the same situation, but actually took my advice, didn't do the surgery. Within 9 months, was back to playing pickleball, whatever them rich boys play. And that was the end of it. To me, it was interesting because I was like, what I don't get is how he was so married to his ideology, even after the light bulb went off in his head. But he was like, you make a good point. It's not acellular.
Because he's not a scientist. Because the scientists have willful ignorance to where even though there is ignorance to a degree because of what they already know, they still are recipients of information and they are willing to go test information. As a surgeon, I could understand the insurance policy that you're not willing to risk to try to test out information.
I agree.
Being that your job is a surgeon. So, of course, I understand the skepticism, but the willingness to try it out is challenging his profession more so than encouraging science. That encourages science.
Yes.
What you said encourages science.
Yeah.
But it discourages anybody else who would have to follow through with that.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, because everybody from Virginia probably got a doctor named Patel. So, if you got a doctor named Patel, just know.
Oh my God! What did he just do?
You can't prove him wrong because
hey,
you remember the math professor in Norfolk State?
Yeah.
No, listen.
There's some Patel everywhere.
They finna take the podcast.
They run the world.
Listen, bro.
Directed by Patel.
I'm saying this because it's the piggyback on what he said. I want to say around 2015, I actually dislocated my shoulder, and during the incidents where it got dislocated, I was able to pop it back in place. So a couple of days went by. I knew I had to get it a surgery done because my arm was not moving, but I can move my shoulder. My arm was stiff, but I couldn't move my shoulder. And the doctor was like, it's gonna take like close to a year for you to recover, and you won't be able to dance or whatever the stuff you doing. That's exactly what he said. I looked him dead in his eyes. I said I'll recover in 2 months. Came back, recovered in 2 months, and I was bone breaking and all that, doing push-ups. It was even a time when my shoulder came out of place again after the surgery, and I just did what I needed to do because at the end of the day, I'm an anime head too, so I just know you breathe, train your body, listen to where it's at. It's gonna get it done.
That boy did that breathing technique off Demon Slayer.
Well, I did it before I understood what it was. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I understand.
You watch
like
Demon Slayer say, I lived this.
I did it before. I am that. Okay.
He
They're epitome of it.
He said first form real nigga.
Second form don't try. Third form, these hands work. No, but it just felt good to go back into that office and look a doctor in his face that has the training that went through school
And say I was right.
Yeah, and being in like a senior, that was like my senior year. No, that was my junior year. Being a junior in high school, telling a person that got their PhD, basically a doctor, about this shit, and it just made me feel good. That's what.
Yeah, I mean, and I respect it, and something I realized I did when I got more into the medical field and I started discoursing back and forth with doctors. And there's no disrespect to them, but I was like, we put them too high on the pedestal, lawyers and everybody too. I was like, it's a situation where they're servants like everybody else. And, like, no disrespect, but if I go into the grocery store and there's a clerk there, I expect the clerk to check me out. And I'm going to respect this clerk, of course, thank this clerk for their service and leave. If I go to the mechanic and I say, hey, I need an oil change, and he takes my advice and he says, okay, I'm going to give you an oil change, and he listens to me. And, of course, he's going to diagnose the problem himself, too, and say, you need an oil change, but I think you also need a battery or whatever, But he's going to do that oil change because I requested it. Why is it that when I go to the doctor, it's the only place I don't have a right to say what I feel I need? Why is the medical field the only industry where I go to the person that's supposed to be serving me and I say, hey, I have a headache, but what I believe is this? They're like, nope, we're going to run 1,000 tests, and I'm going to tell you what it is, and what your opinion doesn't matter. Why is it like that?
It's the same
They don't,
with
you know what I'm saying? They don't have that power. What is that about?
I see it as the same with the police.
Yeah, I mean, and what I'll say is that's a tough situation.
Boy, you trying to have another hour.
No, I'm not.
He is.
I'm not, bro.
He is.
Trust me, I'm not.
I'll say, I hate to say
Bro
it this
threw
way.
that out there smooth.
Facts. I hate to say it this way, but the police even get more of a pass than doctors do, only because police take an oath to serve and protect, so maybe not. But doctors take a Hippocratic oath to first do no harm. So I guess it is a similar situation. You're right. But I'll say for the police, I'm going to at least hope if it's like I said on Thief and Police, I was like, every cop ain't all bad, but all cops ain't police.
Facts.
When you get a real police officer,
That's always hard to remember that song.
Appreciate you, bro. He's only there, hopefully, because the law has already been broken and he's enforcing the law. When you get a bad police officer, of course, he's there the same way a bad doctor is. To whatever his agenda is, he gonna push it, and that's disgusting behavior. But I guess
they do have something in common though. The reason why their power exists is because of faith. We have put all of our faith into worldly things, as is, to the pride that we have in what we've attained, thinking that we can fix these things that are beyond our fixing a lot of times, because we like to do damage and see how much we can fix the damage we've already done. So when you go to the police, a crime was already committed, which means damage was done. But keeping a community safe means there's no crime at all. But then there's no money in that because we can't hit quotas and bonuses.
Yeah.
They can't.
So if a community is safe, there is no quota here to hit. So in return, we do have to do damage to see results. And that damage ends up creating fear, which ends up allowing us to put faith in these entities that have way more power than they should actually have.
That goes back to I was on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I said I was like, black people are gonna lynch me when I say this, but I was like, that's the biggest issue with black people.
What are we doing?
No, because what you just said, listen, they gonna lynch me. I said, that's the biggest issue with black people still voting for our slave masters when we vote Democrat. I'm not saying vote Republican. I'm not a Republican. But what I'm saying is our communities have been democratically controlled for the past 50, 60 years almost. Mm-hmm. And they've been utterly destroyed. So the people you're voting into office are continuously destroying your community. And what's interesting is these are the people who run the police force. So, I mean, I said all that to say they complain about the police in their district, as we do, and say, you know, how they going to police our neighborhoods. They don't understand it. They don't know it. But why do we give the political power to these people over and over again if they're steadily destroying us? Like you said, I don't go to the suburbs in the conservative neighborhoods, and I don't see these issues happening there.
Because they took our power back then when they put us on this wrecking ass United States. You know, I'm sorry, bro. But
I mean, you don't see those problems because those problems are. I said this recently, and this is on a much smaller scale. Mm-hmm. With every problem that exists, black people run to their phone before they run to the police. So the reason why we look the way that we do, all the issues that are in the suburban community are within the suburban community. They're not meant for us, but we, being where we are, like to broadcast everything. So I personally believe that they do have all the same things because you see, I deliver to suburban neighborhoods often.
I agree.
And you hear about somebody broken somebody over here.
Yeah, you got the
this
same
person
issues.
Waiting for stealing packages.
Joe Biden's son is a crackhead.
No cap.
No,
and
the same issues.
No cap.
The same issues. He's a crackhead.
And throwing crack parties. I actually
at the White House.
And shout out.
Hey, bro.
Hey, nah. This I'm
trying to be up here for now.
Nah. What he's saying is crazy. I'm actually email you this later. What's crazy is
I know it.
In 12th grade. I'm sorry. In 12th grade, I think I was in government. It was either 11th or 12th grade. I had wrote a story called "Peek Through the Crack." In this very story, we had to include different levels within the judicial system in order to get a certain grade with the story or whatever. Yeah. My story was about somebody who watched their father get falsely accused of rape and go to jail. He grew up, became a lawyer, and got his dad out of jail. He grew up, became a lawyer just to become a local defense attorney because I forgot what I knew, honestly. But basically, that was how it went out. But the main part of the story was there were people in political power. One of his cousins was an intern at a mayor's office, and the other one was a notorious drug dealer. Started off selling weed, and then he realized the real money was in harder drugs when he started selling to kids at college deans. Mm-hmm. He ended up leveling up to these very people that are in political power to where he's throwing parties, Diddy parties, basically, where it's nothing but politicians there, and these politicians are only letting these other politicians know, and the intern cousin ended up finding. You
wrote the eyes. What is it called? The eyes wide shut. What you?
bro, that has it. And then the intern cousin had ended up finding one of the politicians trying to resell his cousin's shit.
Yeah.
So then he ended up money laundering. He ended up laundering and stuff to try to get back at him because he didn't like that. He ended up getting locked up. The same cousin that was selling the drugs ended up getting him pardoned as well as putting the dude's son through law school.
So
it was like
family.
So the fact that Joe Biden get caught doing crack in the White House is like, what was I on?
But hear me out.
But it's been like this since it's been like this.
At the beginning of the podcast, oh, you know what? I think I said this before the podcast was started. No, at the beginning when I said kids have this curiosity where they pay attention.
Yes, yes.
They do.
And the adults do.
And they lose that creativity in adulthood sometimes. But I feel like that creativity, in order to be a great conspiracy theorist, I feel like that creativity has to stay.
You're right, though. You're right. You're 100% right.
Because you have to be creative enough, because a lot of people say, yo, they're not sacrificing children. They're not raping children. Why they not?
Why ain't they, bro?
Yes, they are.
If somebody was,
bro, I can answer that.
If somebody was willing to put it on a script and write it down,
it's happening.
It's not an unoriginal thought.
Not at all.
So the fact that you can fathom the thought means there's somebody.
They
gotta come from somewhere.
I mean, and then my thing is this:
it's not saying that everybody doing it.
Yeah, I'm saying everybody, but I'm saying most of them are. I'm saying Hillary Clinton is. No, let me stop before this really get canceled. For this really get canceled, but
what are we doing? What are we doing? We still got them student loans.
Get paid off.
What are we doing? Yo, I'm not with y'all.
Fast forward.
No, I'm only. I'm done. I'm
still
gonna stop.
bro.
I'm gonna stop after this. I'm only making that point.
He
to
was
say,
waiting for this.
He was.
He was waiting.
He was waiting for this. I'm only making that point to say.
I still got them student loans.
Facts, me too, because I ain't paying them yet. But I'm only making that point to say this.
Oh my God.
I agree with you 100%. And when I talk about the police reform, I definitely think reform needs to be done, but it doesn't need to be done away with. There's no problem with structure and infrastructure.
Absolutely.
It makes a great, healthy society. Like you said, I think a lot of the issues in the black community are definitely self-inflicted because we can blame the system 100%. But we also have to look at why do we keep falling into the system? Why do I have to be a repeat felon offender? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got to catch 3 felonies for me to find out felonies don't really work for my life.
In the same way I said last episode with the Stephen A. Smith thing, when black people talk, we are not speaking exclusively toward us being the only ones doing it.
Not at all.
Because
thank you.
Every community is the downfall of their own community.
Yes, thank you.
But we do have to end up actually having our own conversation. Absolutely, yes.
Because I am a black man,
Yeah.
and I tell people all the time, it is not racist. I love conservative white people. I'm going to tell you why. They are open and honest about them being focused on white people. Thank you.
There's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with it because I'm focused on black people, bro. I ain't mad at you. Go be great.
Just because you
and I'm gonna go be great. So
don't mean you anti.
Facts.
Yeah.
It don't mean you anti. So and my thing is this: I think if you are a black or white man and you are not more focused on your own people, I'm questioning what is wrong with you because you're not loyal. Are you good actually? I'm being honest.
It's self-hate.
It's self-hate because would you rather somebody stab you in the back or tell you straight to your face, hey, I don't really mess with you for real? Straight to your face, right? Because you know what they expect.
Yeah, I'm fake, so I would.
Yeah, why be stabbed in the back?
Bro, you said 2 hours ago that was your last one.
You're right.
Facts. You said that was your last one, yeah. And that's why Malcolm X said, I'm weak. That's why one of Malcolm X's last quotes before he died was, the biggest enemy of the black community is the liberal white person because they go out and they march with you and they smile in your face and they pretend your struggle is the same. Then they run back to the suburbs where they don't have your struggle and they benefit off of the affirmative action or whatever that you worked for that you still never got. Because Malcolm X made the point. He was like, what does a liberal white man have to do to take advantage of the so-called affirmative action or whatever? It wasn't affirmative action at the time, but the benefits that are supposed to be given to the disenfranchised black community. All he has to do is to become a minority.
Yeah.
And you know what a liberal, you know what a minority looks like as far as a white man goes?
Black.
Gay white man. That's a minority group. I know I'm wilding right now, but I'm saying.
No, you're not wilding. You're opening a door to another hour conversation that I'm closing right now.
I'm done.
Shut up, because I know you. Shut up.
I'm just
because as soon as I hear Roman bathhouse come out of nigga mouth, I'm cutting this microphone off.
No, bro. I'm done.
Because I know where this goes.
I'm done. I'm only making a point to say this. There's a scripture, and I'll end it with this because I'll yield.
Yeah.
2 Chronicles 7:14, and Most High says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear them from heaven, and I will heal their land. And I make that point to say we have to start being accountable, like you said in the beginning, for our own actions. Because what the Most High calls us to do is he will heal our land if we actually turn away from the stuff we're doing to destroy our own land. I am angry when a racist person comes into my community and destroys it, but I'm even more angry when my own brother destroys it because he claims he has to sell drugs to provide for his family. No, you don't, bro. I struggled too. You heard my story. I didn't have to destroy my community to make sure my mother ate. So why did you?
I heard the album for sure.
I'm weak, and I heard the album too. So why did you? And this is the standard we have to hold our brothers to, and that's why I yield with that, because our communities won't be healed until we turn from our wicked ways. We can't get but so far saying the system. Yes, the system is messed up, but why are you still in it, bro? Why are you still lost in it?
And I think to add to the closing point of that,
Lab rats.
the very minimal part of being a part of the system, we end up chalking it to, well, being that we have to partake in this very minimal integral part of it, we might as well fully subscribe.
Yes.
Like getting a job is being a part of the system regardless of whether we want to acknowledge it or not.
It,
but because we got a job, I might as well sell drugs. I
well,
don't feel like working this. It's like, bro, god dang, bro, try, bro. Bro worked at Walmart pushing carts for 2 weeks. Bro, it was like, I can't do this. I need to hit the block. I was like, bro, you live up the street.
He worked one week in a hole at Walmart distribution.
Like, bro,
and now you gonna distribute
and
on the
you live
block.
in the suburbs with me. What are you doing, bro?
Facts.
You only selling to the hood, bro. What are you doing, dog?
Bro, you just Nova kids. I ain't gonna
Hey, facts. So,
like, bro, I've been to your house. You good?
you just exposed a lot of
You don't
Northern
need
Virginia
it.
kids, bro.
you don't need it.
Oh
You
my
see them with a
god.
nice car,
So,
big
bro,
yard.
and that's my final point. A lot of people look at my post and they say, bro, I see why you get banned. You say some crazy stuff. And I go back to my point, bro, have I become your enemy because I give you the truth? I'm saying these things because I desire to challenge you.
Exactly.
I desire to, and I want to prick your spirit enough for you to be mad enough at me to go do something about it. Prove me wrong.
All right, I'll be that person. At some point in time, do you view that to be problematic to your cause?
Yes, I will say. Like you said, it has to have a limit at the beginning. I agree.
Like you've been trying to close.
Has to have a limit.
Well, that was because that part of it, I think that is a good chapter closer because, again, you can end with accountability.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That part of it, because I find myself doing that a lot.
Yeah.
Being the one to challenge, because I would like to challenge you to think differently as well as I would like to challenge my ability to be able to intake knowledge.
Yeah.
At some point, that don't register the same way because that's in your head, not in the other person's head. Mm. So while I'm loving what's going on right now, that could send the other person into distress, and now your message is totally thrown off.
It's lost.
Because the person communicating the message had the intent, but the delivery, the bullheadedness comes into play.
I agree.
Because when the bullheadedness don't come into play and you take someone's emotions and feelings into consideration, you don't get to this point of the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But on the other side of it, when we get to this point, we have this amazing discourse. I don't know that I'm 3 sentences away from demeaning my whole message.
Yeah, and you know what? There's wisdom, and I think that's why we die daily, like I said earlier, because you got to kill your flesh daily to grow your spirit. Me especially, so I can't be somebody to profess and say, bro, you know a lot about science and health, and I mean, but the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know, and like you said, if I'm too passionate, I can be a stumbling block to my brother who I was just about to reach. And I've done that before, and I've regretted it. So that's a great question, but it's a great way to end it.
Okay, so now, right?
A wise man knows he don't know it all.
We got no, a wise man knows
he doesn't know it all. That's what
he knows that he knows nothing.
Yeah. Whatever, bro.
Yeah. See, this is why I get cussed out because I do shit like that. But anyway, I do have to. I'll end that conversation, but in closing of the whole thing, it would be criminal if I didn't speak about your music.
Oh, thank you, bro.
You have you don't have a music background. You have a sonic background. Your background has focused a lot more on sonics and sounds than solely just music, because music as we know it is something that I could just play on my device. But you deal with instruments, and you're now on the side of it where you're dealing with the technology as well as the instruments. Your love for music, and you were a college athlete at one point in time. Mm-hmm. At what point in time in your life did you feel this journey was more than necessary for me to go down?
When I was forced to stop being an athlete, I had more free time, and I reflected back on what my foundation was. Like I said, my grandfather was a musician, and before my father passed, he would always say, like, bro, you were a great singer, you're a great musician. Go sing in church, go play instruments in church. And I'll say, when football was snatched and the Most High humbled me, I felt like I got a chance to look at what he really blessed me with. I said, you know what? I can't say he gave me this gift and I let it go to waste. I had a family full of singers and musicians, but nobody could engineer a record. So I taught myself.
That's tough. That is tough.
Tough. So I taught myself engineering, and I mixed my first record in 2010. Took a long hiatus because I was trash. And
it'd be like that.
Facts. And mixed my first official record in 2015, the same year I got my first health certification. And I've been consistently mixing since. So, yeah.
Okay, so you rap more than you sing. We could be totally honest about it. What made you want to join the other 60% of NSU and HBCUs?
And rap more than I sing?
instead of just actually pursuing your vocal abilities.
Because you hear how much I talk. I resonated more with the message, and Michael Jackson was gifted to make a song called "They Don't Care About Us," right? And make a song and make that song and sing that in a way where people want to hear a message. To me, I always fell in love with poetry in a way I can get across a message through the poetry. So that's why I choose to this day, although I do sing. I'm the choir director at my church. I still choose to rap more than I sing unless I'm singing at church. Just because it's like I can get the message across that way. But I have been challenged lately to try to see if I can do a 50-50 thing. I don't know.
Especially by me. I'm more so 75-25.
Yeah, you have been.
Rap has not been my wave. I haven't made a lot of music just because rap ain't what I've been feeling. Yeah. Even though I do have songs in the tuck, but
absolutely.
Do you have anything coming up and coming out?
Not right now. I'm going to drop. Hopefully by the end of this year, I'm gonna drop 2 singles. 3 if I can finish this beat and I can reach out to you because I kind of want you on it.
Okay, that's done.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But as you know, after Levi died, I made the switch to do gospel inspirational music. Yeah. So we dropped 2 gospel records. They're doing great, thankfully. All praises to the Most High. They're doing very well. We dropped. We had them in the tuck for a long time, bro. They was recorded for over a year and a half before we released them.
Yeah.
I just finally had to put them out, bro. And I'll say released them in Vengeance. One is called Vengeance Is Mine. That one has about 400,000 plays on Spotify, thankfully.
Tough.
All praises, bro. And Patience, we released this March. And Patience is approaching about almost 30,000 on Spotify. Tough. And the same on Apple Music, so that's a blessing.
Tough. These streaming services, no robbery, but
it's super tough. Robbery. You are artists, you know the math behind it.
Yeah, I'll talk about it at a different time.
Another episode.
So, do you see yourself staying down that path of music, or do you see the finish line? If we being honest, because artistry, unfortunately, and what we do, unlike any other culture, has a mortal life. Yeah. And the mortal life is when it's not cool no more, rather than when we actually pass away. Yes. Because everyone else's culture is immortal, and we get pushed out.
We do.
So, do you see the finish line for your music career, or is that something that you plan on continuing as consistently as you can be with it?
I think the beautiful thing about being on both sides of it, when it comes to the Sonics and the artist side, is there's no finish line for the Sonic side.
Absolutely not. Yep.
So, I told myself that when it becomes corny for me to be rapping about Christ at 40 years old, 50 years old, I can always be an engineer and stay around it.
True.
So, like you said, I think I've accepted that at a certain point, it won't be okay for me to make a rap album. I guess it will be maybe, but it won't be for me to make a rap album at 60 years old about the goodness of Christ. You know what I'm saying? But what I'll say is,
it's sad how black people have treated ourselves over time.
I know we crazy,
Goodness
bro.
gracious.
But I will say,
it's corny to talk about Jesus. After a certain age, I do not want to hear this 60-year-old man. Bro, he happy, bro.
Yeah, let him be great, bro. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you on that. As long as something is fruitful, bro, I'm with it.
But Jay-Z can talk about slinging drugs at 50.
At 50.
When he did it at 20.
And we still banging with it, but that's another story. But that's why I said, bro, I'm willing to accept the reality of it. 444 was
his worst album, though.
And make a movie.
Whatever.
Come on, bro.
Making a mockery of
stupidity. I don't know, bro. I just don't know.
Don't get me started, bro. You about to start another hour conversation.
Yeah, you're right. So
we all doing that, bro.
Yeah. So but I do just want to say I greatly appreciate my brother for coming through. I'm grateful to have. Whenever you pull up, whenever I see you, I deliver to your house. I was grateful to deliver to your house just because I knew you. Like, it's like, I'm grateful to even know this person that stayed at this address. I see that garden right there, that stank set right there. I'm grateful to know that person. I'm grateful to know you. Appreciate all the experience we had together, even back when you was running the route tree and I was telling you to ball.
Facts.
But try to get back active again.
Just letting that thing fly.
Yeah, you feel me? But I'm even grateful to have my brother Troy here sitting in on a conversation, because this conversation to me is necessary.
Yes.
Not because everybody's supposed to care about it, but because this dialogue between us helps us in the long run. So if we end up growing rich and fruitful off things, I don't care if nobody else care about it. We good. You feel me? 100%. But yeah, I just wanna let you know I thank you for pulling up. Everybody, warm round of applause. Andre Raashad. So much knowledge, so much information, so much wisdom. If y'all not up on it, I don't know why y'all. Well, I do know why y'all not. Because it takes so many years to get to this point, to where you are now 29 years old.
Yes, sir.
You're 29 years old. At this point, you've dedicated time and knowledge and gained wisdom over time since you've been in high school, really challenging what is normal. So, being that you've gotten to that point, to somebody who's now 30 plus years old doing this in year one, sounds like a lot. But this is why we have people like Andre that exist, because there should be different entry points rather than basement.
Yes.
There has to be entry points beyond that, because that is what we develop our house for. You don't move into a house when the sticks is up for foundation. You move into a house when it's done. And that don't mean it's wrong for you to move into an already furnished house. Just move in, and if you need to add anything, add it when you get in there. But there are people like Andre that are able to help lay groundwork beforehand, so y'all don't have to bump y'all heads on the same things that he bumped his head on being 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
So thank you again, my brother.
I want to tell you thank you too, bro. For real. I want to thank both of y'all, bro. It was a pleasure to meet you in person. Like I said, I know I seen you on the gram.
Same, right?
Likewise, bro.
He be wildin', right?
Yeah, he do. and pleasure to meet you too, Zion. But I think about you, bro, and you are somebody who, my prayer for you, bro, is that everything the Most High has for you, not only will you achieve, He's gonna bless you to a point where you'll be that inspiration to others, and you'll start that the breaking of those generational curses that exist in your family, in your community. Same thing for me. And the reason I say that is because you're somebody who you're humble. You have multiple gifts. You're humble, but you do your best to open your arms to everybody around you. You've been that way since I've known you. Like you said, you threw that pass that day. You didn't want to be quarterback, but you stepped in and you did it. And you was good at it.
I was waiting.
You was waiting.
I was waiting.
I didn't know you was waiting because ain't nobody want to play all the time at first.
Which I don't know why. It's so fun. Like, I ain't got to run after nothing.
See, right there. See, I'm weak. But, I mean, I guess that's a bad example, but I do give that example to say, since I've known you, you've been willing to essentially throw that pass to others.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that. So thank you for having me. I wish I could stay longer. Got to make sure my grandma okay. All praise to the Most High for her life. So.
Shout out Big Mama.
I'm weak,
but
yes, sir.
this has been what's his face on the talking about what's the name podcast it is. I have been one of your hosts, Kelvin Ruffin Jr. Don't forget the Junior, and I'm here with
Larry the Wavy fellow, here to tell your chick hello. And over here we create the wave, we don't drown in it.
And thank you once again to my boy Andre Raashad. Just some, you know how they do in church. They play the go out music.
Hey.
I got something because I remember what you told me, but one time for the
what you about to play?
You know what I'm gonna play. Where we at? Popped up real quick. Boom. Here we go.
Hey, student loans.
Yes, sir.
I'm out, bro.
Andre Raashad, student loans. We gonna end off with this. If you ain't never heard it, you finna hear it now.